Alright, everyone, welcome to another faction review. We're True Seeing Gaming. My name is Philip, my co host is Kieran,
What's up?
and today we are doing Infected Colonies, something a bit different. This isn't a. There's no 40k equivalent to this, right? This is
Not
more of an OPR original.
they're kind of like what are they called? The Death Guard, but if you just took the didn't take the Death Guard and just took the zombie guys.
I used to play Renegade and Heretic Guard, and there's a
Hmm.
little bit of that in here. I can see the analogies there, but there's a lot of weird stuff that just has no analogies whatsoever.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
It's also I think one of the greatest ones for being able to import other models in as your army. There's a lot of potential here for just pick any war game and put like bits all over your guys, and now they're zombie guys, and that works perfectly for this list. We have a person in our pod who plays Infected Colonies. Shout out to him, and he's got STLs from all sorts of places, and just made this really cool conglomeration of monsters.
They look
Um,
disgusting as hell, which is very
yeah,
appropriate.
yeah, he is very good at painting the
The
moistness onto
goop.
model, the goop. Um, Makes you want to shoot them, so works well.
Alright, well, let's have a look at their standard rule. So, infected. Enemies that roll to block hits from this model's weapons take 1 extra wound for each unmodified result of 1 they roll. It's Shred. Shred by another name.
It's army-wide shred. It's so good.
Yeah, I don't have to really say much about Shred at this point. Anyone who's been watching knows that I just gush over Shred.
Mm.
Anytime you give me Shred, I'm happy.
More
Giving
hits
it
is
army
more good.
wide.
More wounds is more better.
Sometimes you just roll like 4 or 5 ones and you just gets evaporated or your tank disappears and you just want to punch the table. It's very frustrating to verse. So
It's
yeah, really good
also,
rule.
if you think about like your no AP weapons going into tanks like defense 2, this effectively makes them deadly too, right?
Mhm.
Because if they only fail on a 1 anyway, and then your only possible result where you get through is a nat 1, then all of them are 2 damage. Suddenly, your zombies swinging their fists are pseudo deadly weapons, relying on volume, which is what they did regardless of the opponent they fought.
Yeah, and speaking about deadly, of course, deadly stacks with shred. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of deadly weapons in this list. So those start to get very dangerous once you start
Mm.
rolling those ones. Your toughness models start getting evaporated pretty quickly.
Hmm.
So yeah, good rule. You happy with that one?
Yeah, even if you don't go the way of the specialist weapons, the list is very much overall built around volume, and
Mm.
1 in 6 chance go well together.
And you are right. It does even out your anti-infantry weapons to leverage them a little bit better against stuff that's higher defense. Because suddenly, those unlucky rolls are starting to become really punishing. Which is
Mm.
nice. They have a mark, of course. So we've got precision debuff. So once per activation, before attacking, pick one enemy unit within 18 inches, which gets -1 to hit rolls when attacking once. Next time it would apply. This is in melee or shooting.
Mhm.
I don't like it. So I'll go through sort of why. It's too expensive for me. 50 points is a lot to sort of debuff just one activation from an enemy. It's pretty impactful to give someone -1 to hit. And there is a way to leverage it immediately where you can put this on, say, a melee squad. There's some sort of tough fighting kind of models that can have this, so they can charge, put this on whatever they charge, and then immediately fight, and then they're going to win pretty much because of this debuff. But man, that's too expensive for me. What do you think about it?
I think you undersell it for sure.
Okay.
I really like it. I see the expense argument. This is the same discussion I had with that guy in our community, but basically, this is stealth on any unit with no restriction other than the fact you apply it to the enemy. Now, in some cases with buffs and debuffs, like the debuffs are bad because you have to be near the enemy to cast it. In this army, you're always going to try to be near the enemy. That debuff, being able to put it on the specific thing that will like hurt, means that you don't have to worry about which unit it targets. the unit that has this doesn't have to be the one that gets charged or shot at, and it's always there, and your opponent always has to think about it. The other thing is a -1 to hit is quite a good defense ability. It's quite good on pretty much anything. We've talked before about like the Ankylos hitting on 4s and
Mm.
how frustrating that is. You can make your opponent do that with these precision debuffs. And it doesn't have to be the unit that you're going to say charge with your charge unit. It can be that other unit that's nearby. You drop down on their backlines, hit something hard, debuff something else. You've effectively damaged 2 units in their army in terms of their damage output. It can stop the retribution against you, both in that combat or on the other unit that can harm your unit. And I found that's played some use. It is expensive, though. I do understand that. The other thing to note is there are a couple of units in this army that won't that do pretty good when they charge, but they will suffer the clap back. So the enemy hitting you back will actually hurt that unit. So something like this means they're more likely to win that combat, which there's nothing worse than when you charge and then you lose the combat. So I think that's also a niche that's hard to give the value to. I quite like this. It's not the first thing I'd go for in the list, but it's definitely something I'd consider putting in. And a lot of the times when you build this list, you're going to need to put in some extra points here and there.
Okay. And they have a unique weapon rule, like every other army. They've got Bash. So ignores cover, and against units where most models have defense 5 to defense 6, this weapon gets blast +3. So
This
it's
is
mostly on
incredible.
these spore shooters.
Incredibly niche.
Yeah. To me, these are fighting with flamers, and flamers will give you a hitting on 2s. These normally, for a lot of these units, they're quality 5, which is awful. If you can avoid shooting on quality 5, you need to. I think the quality 5 is what's letting this rule down. If it didn't have that, then I think Space Marines have the equivalent of this, right? They've got, yeah, their special rule I think is the same, and it makes sense for their quality 3 because that's so close to a flamer. For quality 5, it's too unreliable for me. What do you think about it?
I agreed with you the moment I saw it. Then I put it into practice, put it into army building, and I realized that infected gunners is a poor unit to show as an example. If you swap over to the infected soldiers to show it off,
Yep.
I think is a much better example of a place you'd put it in. It's 5 points versus 15 for the flamer. So it's a third of the price. It matches the range of your default weapons. You're not getting closer than you have to. And that Bane combined with the Bash is something that the Flamer doesn't have. And rerolling 6s when your opponent's defense 5 or 6 is even better.
Rerolling 6, Bane, there's other units that have this as well, but Bane has an additional synergy with Infected, where if you're rerolling a 6, it's just another chance to roll that 1.
Exactly. And the extra synergy of a lot of the units that are defense 5, defense 6, all of the armies that have that, get the option to get regen on their troops, particularly HDF. This is a very good weapon into HDF. Now, you are right. Only hitting on 5s versus hitting on 6s is a bit more of a swing, but you can put a lot of these in a list. And I don't think they're better than Flamers. When you look in a unit like this where they're 1/3 of the cost, I think they fit in better, unless you have points to throw around. And I think there are some better places to put points thrown around this list. So I actually rate these spore shooters higher than I think you do for sure. Particularly, yeah, but it really does depend who you're coming up against. If your opponent is playing Battle Brothers, this is garbage. It's useless. He won't have any units that the Bash works on, so you're basically just paying for one-shot Bane. So you're paying to lose a shot to
You
get
get an
Bane.
ignores cover. That's it.
I guess. I guess that's something, kind of.
But you lose a shot. You've paid points to lose a shot as well.
You have. So that's a serious consideration in that case. Look, if you know what you're coming up against, in terms of like if we're playing in a campaign and I know I'm coming up against HDF, I'd take Bane. I take the Bane Bash. I think that's a great weapon profile in that case. But yeah, don't take it against Titan Lords. But you probably also wouldn't take Flamers there either.
All right, let's have a look at their spells. So
Oh,
we've got Violent Onslaught 1. Pick one friendly unit within 12, which gets Infected Boost once next time it would apply. Now, Infected
mm.
Boost means rolls of 1 to 2 now shred, which is
1 in 3 chance to double damage.
really nice. That is a really nice buff.
Do note only on failed defense rolls. So if they have a 2-up save, this does nothing.
Yeah. Yes, but it does make those AP ones super tasty
Oh
once you
yeah.
start getting infected boosts.
Hmm.
Yeah, really great for one.
Mm.
That's a really scary increase if you start getting say 20 model units, some shred, some thrust. We're really starting to cook now in terms of the output that we're expecting.
Mm. Yeah. You think your opponent rolling, say 6 dice, getting, you know, 2 fails on that AP1 hit, and then that's 4 damage. That's more than a deadly weapon, and it's a lot cheaper than that deadly weapon. Um, yeah, this is a great 1-cost spell. The idea that you can just fling this off. I've got an extra caster point after I cast the thing I wanted to. Yeah, I'll just fling it off on something. It's a good one. It's really good.
All right, so we've got Biohorror. Pick one enemy unit within 12, which takes 2 hits with AP 1 and Surge. So roll 2 dice. If you get any 6s, you get an extra hit on top. It's fine.
It's a shotgun spell.
It's nothing amazing. It's pretty much equivalent to what most other people get. We got Brain Infestation for 2. Pick up 2 enemy units within 18, which get -1 to hit rolls when attacking once. I like this better here than the 50 point upgrade. Having this on casters and just being able to put suddenly -1 to hit on 2 enemy units when it's most appropriate or where it's going to be very impactful.
Mm.
Nice. Especially because you can have it on a caster 2 now and fire it off every turn, or just a higher chance with a caster 3. Pretty good. I like this more. What do you think?
I agree. I also like it more here. But particularly, one thing I did mention earlier is that obviously it stacks with this
Yes,
because they're
yes,
different rules. So
yes.
now if you're giving someone -2 to hit and a second unit -1 to hit, that's a really big swing factor in your opponent's ability to output damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is good. Uh, you could take a caster just to do this, but chances are the caster that I think I'd always take in this list is caster 3, and so this is just an option that he always has in his pocket.
Yep, and then he can throw out an infected boost as well. These are 2 spells that are never going to be bad to just throw out.
Yep. Although, of course, rolling on 4s can be a
Mm.
bit sad. Uh,
But yeah,
just need.
and you are kind of right. The more expensive your opponent's units, the more impactful this is going to be. If he's got a 700 point unit and you can give -1 or -2 even to that to hit for that round, that's
They'll cry.
horrifying. That's really
Mm.
really bad. Yeah. So spread plague. Pick one enemy unit within 18, which takes 2 hits with bash. It's okay. It's actually
This
not great, to be honest.
no, I think that it's only not great in comparison. You don't get 6-hit spells at 2 costs usually, do you?
You do. HDF gets them. They're closer range,
Mm,
but it's straight 6 hits.
okay. Well, look, it's not the worst. The fact that you never have to use it, um, because if your opponent doesn't have anything susceptible to bash, you can just not use this. You have the options of all of the other spells, which are quite nice, and you have that brain infestation at the same point cost, which is a really good one. I think this is fine as a alternative because in the situations where you can use this, this is great. There's a 6-hit spell that ignores cover
Yep.
and
Well,
18 inches.
spells automatically ignore cover. So it's just kind
Yeah,
of
this is a good point. This is a good point. Yeah.
it's just kind of 6 hits really, which is it's okay. It's 18 inches, 6 hits, but it's very niche. Very, very niche. But you know what? It's a spell. You don't have to cast it. Rapid Mutation 3. Pick up to 3 friendly units within 12 inches, which gets regeneration. Cool. It's good.
Yeah,
This is one of the few places you can get regen in the list.
it's the only place other than unit that starts with it.
Yeah. Uh, I don't
This
really
is
have to explain regen. It's a great rule.
Yeah, this is the one that you want to use on big models, such that when they fire their deadly weapon at a big model, there's just a chance you get to ignore just enough to survive, or just enough to stop a morale check, and your opponent doesn't get that swing from stunning your tank.
Yeah. Yeah, if you take a deadly 6 and you're a tough 6 and you just get that 1 or 2 regen rolls, then that makes all the difference in the world, or tough 12.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, great place to put it. There are you can make some pretty big units as well in this
Mm-hmm.
list. So putting just a regen blanket on top of them can just help with the incoming fire. Now there is a little bit of a caveat with that, because the defenses on infantry in infected colonies is pretty bad in general. So
Mm.
if you are versing infected colonies, you can just put, like, I don't know, a couple pistol shots into them, eat this regen, and then go in with your real squad if that's an option on the board.
Mm.
But it is not. This is still a good spell to get off. Regen is just good.
Yeah. So you are right. We talked about that a bit. The split shooting to turn off the regen means that yes, you're better off using it against high defense stuff on your high defense stuff, which you do have good options for, but kind of a lot of your army for if you want to build this list will be that horde. But you do have the option of building either way, actually.
So then we've got Volatile Infection. Pick one enemy unit within 6 inches, which takes 3 hits, AP2, Deadly 3. 6
Incredible.
inches is pretty close, but these are casters which actually like to dice, so they don't mind charging things. 3 hits, AP2, Deadly 3. Pretty scary. Times when you want that, that's pretty nasty to have to just send into a tank or something.
Mm. It's honestly, I think this is a phenomenal capstone spell. No, it doesn't stack with infected.
Yeah, I was just double checking. It doesn't stack with infected, so you don't get your shred on that.
No, but that being said, 3 AP2 deadly 3 hits is good. 6 inches seems like a drawback until, yes, you realize that your unit's probably charging anyway. And then there's the extra factor of when you charge, you have to get as close as possible. That doesn't mean that your route has to be direct. You can get as close as possible whilst going slightly around them to get just in range of the tank that's just to the side of them, so that you can shoot this off and blow off a tank while you charge a second unit. And with deadly threes, you can go up to 9 damage with this. That's a lot of damage to be just flinging off like that.
And as you said before, there's caster 3s, so they could send this every turn if they wanted to.
Exactly. If you think of this just as a weapon that this guy can have that can be swapped out for a utility occasionally, this is it's quite good. I love it. I think it's great capstone. Honestly, probably one of my favorite spell lists.
Oh wow. Okay.
I really like it. I really like how it slots into the list. I don't think it's the most powerful spell list across all of it, but I do really enjoy it. I think it's the most fun.
There's only one miss for me. The Spread Plague is a bit meh, but all the others are quite good. So
Mm,
yeah, I can definitely see how it'd be, how you'd like it. Let's
mm,
have a look at the upgrades that the characters can get. So we've got Fortified Aura. So you get AP -1. There's a few units that can use this. There's some Defense 3 units in there that you could join, but most of the units are Defense 6, which is pretty funny.
mm.
What do you think about Fortified Aura? This I wouldn't use, purely because the
Yeah.
other ones are just better.
The stuff that I want to be tankier uh, won't benefit from AP Neg 1 so much as
Lower
possible.
damage.
Yeah, lower damage. Yeah, yeah. I think you need def 3 or higher for fortified to be good, in my opinion.
Which is just
Um,
Corrupted Beast. That's it. I'm pretty
yeah.
sure.
Uh, no, you could also go for like vultures, boomers, hunters.
They're all Defense
Um,
4, no?
oh, sorry, yes, sorry, they are defense 4.
Yeah.
We're talking about. Yep.
Yeah, just Corrupted Beasts.
But yeah, it is cheap though.
Yeah, it is cheap.
If you want to throw them in a squad, but then again, fast is only a little bit more expensive and probably a lot more utility.
Yeah, so +2 inches when advancing, +4 inches when rush charging. Fast is pretty good. You can use it to negate zombies slow if you wanted to, as a really roundabout means of doing so. I
Yeah,
probably wouldn't do that, but you can do that if you want.
you probably also shouldn't because zombies are regen, and any unit that you can give this to, I believe.
Yes. Very good point. That would lose their regen because he doesn't have it.
Yeah.
I guess this would just be for the corrupted beasts and
It could be for
boomers and things like that. Then,
yeah, it could be for a couple of different options because extra mobility is always useful in the game.
yeah, fast
It
and
doesn't stand out
nice.
as something. Yeah, it doesn't stand out as the thing you'd buy a leader for.
Just check that there's no fast. Yeah, okay, it comes with Great Hunter, but then your zombies are going to lose stuff. All right, thrust in melee. So when you charge, you get +1 to hit and +1 AP for the whole unit. I like it quite a lot.
Yep.
That's a really good buff. So there's units like, for example, zombies or infected runners, which normally hit on 5s, but now they're hitting on 4s with 2 attacks AP1. That's a big increase.
Big swing in damage, big swing in output. Now, the disadvantage of only getting it on a charge is kind of a bit sad. The units that you're putting this buff on, you don't really mind losing them. And now, with this buff on them, you've created an actual threat out of this unit. Because, like you said, say even a 10-man unit, but they can get up to 20. A 10-man unit has 20 attacks, which usually hit on 5s and are AP nothing.
For
Now
the
it's
infected leader who's 25 points, it can run this too. And yeah, pretty cheap unit upgrade to get that kind of damage output increase.
yep.
Yeah, I like
Um,
the thrust in melee.
and AP1's the best point of armor piercing, right? It's the first point.
And it goes very well if you're going to be casting the infected boost. Just to get that AP1, so those defense 2 units are now failing on 1, 2.
Ones and twos, which lets infected boost work. Unfortunately, you'd have to do it with the spell if you went that
Yes, yeah.
way. And because you're putting thrust in melee on this hero, you'd need a second hero nearby who you'd need to activate first to get the ability. It's a bit more finagly, but yes, they could combo better together.
Alright, then we got just straight infected boost aura. Pretty scary on a big unit, depending on what you want to do. Of course, it works in ranged and melee just fine.
It's difficult because I always try to think of when I would want this, and the +1 to hit from thrust just seems like on the units that I would want to get this sort of buff on is just a bit better.
Can I get it on? I can get it on an infected leader.
To put in zombies?
To put it on infected gunners with
Oh, here we go.
melters. So that if you're all 1s or 2s on my melters, then you're taking 6.
Yeah, and they're relentless, and they're, 100 points
Yeah.
for each half. Look, anytime you see one of these relentless 3-man special weapons units, you know Philip's going to dive straight for the melters or flamers.
Yes. They just work every time. When they stop working for me, I'll stop taking them. But they just work. I can't
They
argue
do.
with them. All right. So yeah, infected boost are pretty good. Probably limited in terms of the units you can take on them. Like you mentioned, a lot of the melee ones would just prefer the thrust in melee or something like that. But some shooting
Yep.
ones would really like this. Caster 3. So you can get the Caster 3 on the Monstrous Tyrant only. Caster 3 Monstrous Tyrant, pretty good. Tough 6,
Yeah.
defense 2, dude. He's 215 points, but he slaps pretty okay in melee too. So it's a good option if you want some casting in your list. And like we mentioned before, there's some good stuff to cast.
Also, just looking at his cost, even with caster 215, def 2, tough 6, he's got 6 attacks in melee. This is cheap.
For the Caster 3 quality, Caster 3 quality 3 defense 2. Yeah.
It's cheap. If you think about this profile and then go, oh, he's also got 3 deadly 3 hits on him. Or, oh, he also provides 3 units with regen. Or, oh, he also makes 2 enemies hit with -1 to hit. Just looking at the base stats and thinking about those other utility pieces, this is going to be a recurring theme with this list is, wait, that's all it costs, this unit?
Yeah, you can actually fit a ton of stuff in here. You can find yourself filling out 10 units in a 2,000 point list and hitting cap. And like, oh, I guess I have to add some more expensive units now.
Yeah, I can't just add more. Oh, I actually have to buy up. It's a weird dynamic having to buy upgrades to make up your points, um, rather than oh, mm, how do I add just enough units? How do I reduce the cost of my units to increase my unit count? It's very much the opposite.
So we got Great Hunter. He's got the no retreat aura as a unique. So that means that anytime you fail morale, your entire unit's wounds roll a d6, and on a 1 to 3, they take a wound, but then they just auto pass the morale after that. It's good. They have Fearless on top on a lot of their units too, which also helps a little bit with the morale, because otherwise the morale is really bad. There's a lot of quality 5 stuff, which is just not going to be passing morale very often. Would you
Yeah,
take no retreat aura though?
it's tough because when we talk about what works currently in the game, it's maximizing killiness. And the units that I, in my soul, want to use this on, stuff like the zombies, I can just get +1 to hit and +1 AP on it for cheaper.
Yeah, it'd be hard to take thrust, not take thrust on something like zombies instead of no retreat. It'd have to be a
Yeah.
very specific unit, which you just backline or something.
Every time I've tried to build a list for this, the only times I've wanted to put in leaders, it's because I want a specific buff, and that's never been no retreat.
Hmm.
I'd rather just have an extra caster 2 around, I think. I want it to be good in this list. I want it to fit on something, but I just don't see that it does.
No, I can't see a unit that screams for it. The only thing would be zombies with an infected leader, and you just don't care about morale at that point.
You don't care about the unit already. Base zombie squad is 125 points for 10 models.
With fearless and regen, so they're
Yep.
already pretty resistant. Uh,
I guess you could put it on runners if you, for some reason, chose to take runners.
yeah, and the infected leader has unpredictable shooter aura. I like unpredictable shooter or melee. Just unpredictable in general. It's just growing on me. Good buff.
Mm.
So you don't know what you're going to get, but you're either going to get +1 to hit or +1 AP. You'll find out when you shoot. There's a lot of low quality, high volume stuff that really likes this.
Mm-hmm.
Good fan. Do you like unpredictable shooter aura?
Not on every army, but on this one, yeah, it's phenomenal. You don't have a huge number of units that you use this particular ability on. Realistically, you have one.
There's
I
one
think
that
that you'd actually
really
take,
likes it though.
and it does. It does. It grows. It's the infected soldiers.
These lads. They
Quality
come
5 2
base with
shots.
2 attacks and quality 5 and 10-man units. So we're 40 shots before any other upgrades or anything.
Well, it's a double size, but yeah,
Yeah. That's
it's
it's a lot of shots that are getting +1 to hit or +1 AP.
makes a big difference. And both of those abilities give a
You're happy
benefit
with either.
because most people won't have Def 6. Def 6
Yeah,
is
pretty
quite
rare.
rare.
Ironically,
Def
this
5
army has
is,
a lot, but
yeah, surprising amount.
yeah, not many do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so okay. Let's go through the units individually then. So we'll start with the Monstrous Tyrant. Some of the stuff. Alright, so Monstrous Tyrant. So, he comes base quality 3 defense 2. He's got fear. He's of course got infected and tough 6. He comes with 6 attacks base. You can make them either AP 2 deadly 3 for 2 attacks or 4 attack AP 4s. He's got his standard upgrades. This guy's pretty cool. I like him quite a
Yeah.
lot. What do you think about him?
Cheap and good. That 70-point enlarged brain upgrade seems expensive, but it's caster 3 and it's on a fairly tanky unit. Quite a monster on its own. It's quite good.
He doesn't have to be in a unit if you didn't want to. Like you mentioned, the caster 3, if he's just running on his own, he's still quite a threat. And
Mm.
if he wants to run with a unit, he's got some great buffs to give them. So thrust in melee aura. I've got I think running that with the corrupted beast so that they get quality 2 attacks on the charge is
Yeah.
pretty darn incredible. He fits well into a plane or a transport because he's tough 6 in a character.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
He
great.
can just fit in spare spots in transports, which is pretty funny to think that this
Each thing
monstrous
pops out.
tyrant pops out, blasts you with some spells, maybe some buffs and debuffs, and then, the actual threat jumps out too, as if this guy isn't already. Just look at him here, 190 points for that. Incredible. A bit more, what is it, 230 with the caster?
Goes
That's
to
assuming
230, yeah.
you take the monstrous fist. Just think
I think
about
you
that.
do. I think
Yeah.
AP4 attack AP4 is good enough to take.
I mean, the AP1 rending's also not bad. It is quite cheap to give them the weapons upgrade. I
If
don't
you're going
think it's.
thrust, that's when I think you go the rending, just because why pay to get AP when you're not going to get AP?
Yeah, so just a bit over 200. If you think about that in the context of 200 is the break even for units per cost per unit to meet unit cap, this guy's just above unit cap, which is what I'd call, sort of a fairly cheap infantry squad. And he's tough 6, def 2, and a big caster, and hitting on threes.
And he smacks in melee.
He smacks, yeah. It's ooh,
Yeah.
nothing. Nothing you have in this list should ever feel like it's a tough 18, 2 up, stealth, evasive, regen, all this stuff tacked together to make it completely impossible to kill. Everything is harder to kill than it's worth spending points to kill it. Because if somebody spends points to kill this, which takes a lot, they've killed 215 points. They haven't killed a 400 point unit.
And there's all the other stuff coming at them too.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think he's quite good. I think caster is probably the best way to run him unless you've got a plan for thrust. I don't think fortified is worth it. Affected boost, I probably would just go the caster at that point to get that. But yeah, I
Yeah, I mean,
like him quite a
in
bit.
go the caster because you can use Violent Onslaught on yourself and you've still got a 2 cost spell to go after.
Yeah.
Or you could cast that on a 2 up, but then, that'd be a waste.
Let's have a look at the Great Hunter. So, he's quality 3, defense 4. He's ambush native. He's got Strider and tough 3. Comes with a single deadly 3 attack. You can change that to 4 attacks, either Bane, AP1 Rending, or AP4. And he's picked up the No Retreat aura. And he can run with the units that have Strider or Ambush. So he can go with Infected. No, he'll
No,
cost the Infected
lose
runners their
fearless.
Fearless. He really can only go with Hunters.
Yeah, look, he can go with other things, but he's a great hunter. He's designed to go with the hunters.
And he's only melee. So he doesn't really want to go with the soldiers and stuff.
You can make him a solo ambusher, not with a huge amount of damage output, but with all AP4 attacks, for example, he only comes up to 95 points, and that's without an aura, which you probably don't need if he's by himself. But that's so cheap.
Just a dude to drop in the backline and cause problems.
And as a buffer, you probably want to put him in hunters, who you probably want to ambush because they're hunters.
And if you're bringing him with hunters, just take 10 hunters and just absolutely murder something.
Yeah, just
with
make it
AP4.
a full-on
Just do it.
bomb. Yeah. The defense 4 is a big drawback, I will say. Very, very killable. Same drawback that applies to the hunters. I think this is my least likely to take hero. I think Monstrous Tyrants are the most likely to take just because I like the hero, and then Infected Leaders for the units that they buff.
I like infected leaders. Just they're so cheap and
Yeah.
so many units. But yeah, I do agree. This guy, yeah, he really does have 2 use cases, like you mentioned, drop solo and just be a little bit of a problem. Although I usually like casters more for that. He doesn't have any casting. Or to buff a unit of hunters into good game territory. Just delete something on turn 2. Which you can do. His thrust and melee aura can definitely help with that.
Yeah, or infected boost. Drop
Yep.
him with AP4 hunters and infect boost and make it even more spooky. Although when we get hunters, I'll get to it, but a base squad of hunters with all AP4 attacks already
Expensive.
is
215
expensive,
points.
but put it this way, a 5-man squad with an average wounds of 6.666 against tough 12 or against defense 2 models is pretty good.
All right, let's go into the last one. The infected leader. He's 25 points. He's got quality 5, defense 5. He's
Hello,
got a
company
little
commander.
pistol. Hello, company commander. Okay, so he's got the unpredictable shooter aura and caster 2. This unpredictable shooter aura is really nice for the infected soldiers if he wants to run with them. He's got sort of standardish weapons, but he does have a 2-shot sniper at 18 inches for a reasonable price, 40 points. And he can also get upgrades so that he doesn't delete the keywords of either runners or the infected zombies if he wants to run with them. So this is the guy who can go with them to buff them without ruining their keywords. What do we think about him?
Standard cheap buffer. He fits into the units that you want to use him in, and he provides really good buffs. I had a disagreement on this with the player in our pod about whether or not this is actually worth it.
Oh my goodness, really? He was arguing
Yeah,
against it.
yeah. So he's
Oh wow.
he's more of a big fan of just throw as many zombies at your opponent as possible, which I can 100% respect. Very orc behavior.
55 points to give him +1 to hit and +1 AP.
Is great.
That's I guess you have to pay 65 to match them, but that's way too. Yeah, that's a crazy upgrade.
Mm-hmm. I think these are worth considering for those units too.
Definitely.
Yeah, there's not too much to say about it. The sniper carbine is a nice option
What a great
if you've
meme.
got points spare.
Sniper zombie.
A sniper
Hitting you on
zombie.
twos.
Yeah, well, that's pretty funny too, isn't it? You
With
kind
the
of only
infected.
want to.
AP1 infected is kind of cool too.
Yeah, if you give him infected boost and put him in a squad of carbines as well, that would be pretty funny. What if sniper could take out tanks?
Yeah, this guy's really good. If you are running runners or zombies or infected soldiers, then if it's a 20-man squad, I think this guy starts to become mandatory for whatever you want to do. If it's melee or
The amount of value
shooting,
he adds. Yeah.
you need to start considering what kind of buffs he can give that unit. If it's a 10-man squad, we can start considering it as just a throwaway. You maybe don't need him. But 20-man?
I think on the 10-man infected soldier squads, he's quite good just with unpredictable shooter. He's not too expensive. And I usually just took the carbine.
5 points
Unless
for 3 shots. I like it.
Yeah. It's 80 points, and now we actually take off the infected regen. Yeah, that's the one. So 70 points for unpredictable shooter, even on a 10-man blob, is quite cheap for +1 to hit or +1 AP. That's actually not a bad unit as it is. You go up
23
to
shots
20.
with either hitting on 4s or AP1.
Exactly. When you go up to a 20-man squad, I agree, pretty much compulsory. But yeah, he can slot in. He slots into a lot of places. I think caster 2, enlarged brain, as well as a cheap caster following around your main caster, is a great way to get those +1s to the spell casting.
And
I
firing
had
this off every turn is tasty as well. That's a pretty nasty
yeah.
thing to give -1 to hit to 2 units. Again, with all the synergy of the 18-inch carbines that he's probably going to be dealing with.
Yeah. Also for cheaper or same price as getting caster 3 on the Monstrous Tyrant, you can have caster 2 follow him around and let him cast Rapid Mutation at a 2-up.
Yeah. And we've been talking about buffing units, but there's another thing. If you are at 8 or 9 activations and you got 50 points left, you can just slam 2 of these down to get up to 10. And great, you got 2 extra pieces on the board just walking around, giving you dummy activations for very, very cheap if you wanted to. It's an option. Yeah,
10 points more, you can give a squad fortified if you really, really want a cheap upgrade,
35
I
points
wouldn't
for a
build
dude.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. I like my cheap buff sticks. Let's go to some units. We've got Infected Runners. So, quality 5, defense 6, Fearless, Infected, and Strider. They've got 2 attacks base, and they've got Precision Growth. So, place 1 marker on this unit at the end of each round if it's on the table. For each marker, models with this rule get +1 to hit rolls, max at +2. If it's ever shaken, it loses all its markers. Let's talk about Precision Growth.
That last line is very important for
Yes.
units like the Infected Runners.
If this didn't have Fearless, this would be unusable. With Fearless, we can discuss it. If I'm investing in this unit, I would take Precision Growth. So if I have Infected Runners, for example, with an Infected Leader with Thrust, then I'm probably going to take Precision Growth, because zombies hitting on 2s is funny to me.
Pretty funny. Yeah.
it's just for the memes, that's funny. I just want to hit someone with a 20-man unit of zombies hitting on 2s.
It is the hilarious factor. Your zombies, if they're walking on the field, maybe less so the runners, but particularly the other option, they're never going to. It's very unlikely they're in combat turn 1.
Yeah.
So
unless that, well, caveat, there are some good transport options in this list.
There are, but if you're using it for
just a throwaway unit, yeah.
You're not going to put a 10-man unit with Precision Growth in a transport so that they get a first turn charge, are you?
I almost did. But it's not the best way to do it.
No, you're trying to line up. You're spending 25 points to make it better to second turn charge with the unit you're putting in a transport. It's a bit silly. But yeah, Precision Growth can fit into the list. I'm not sure if, to be honest, I don't think runners are worth taking.
We'll get into that with the next unit. But okay. So yeah, I think if you are investing into the unit, just take Precision Growth, just so that they're a scary potential unit. You may as well make them scary. It's not that much more to make them more scary.
The unit is ignorable at base. Your opponent shouldn't be scared of it, and you can't
if it was
expect
unbuffed. Yeah, it's unbuffed. No one's really scared of 10 quality 5 attacks.
And then it's 115 points. So it's complete chaff. And it's a 10-man 115 point unit. It's chaff.
Now, as I was looking at this, I was thinking in the context, and I'm gonna, this is also kind of in the context of the next unit, the slow moving zombies. If you are using this unit as chaff, it's going to go, it's expensive kind of recruits. You're just going to leave them at the back, chaff activate them, not expose them really, or just, use them to bait your enemy's moves out. Does having Precision Growth mean that, when they start to appear in turn 2, turn 3, and suddenly they're hitting on 3s, which is kind of interesting. But again, by spending more money on them, you're also detracting from their purpose, which is to be cheap, throwaway.
Yeah, 140 points is still just chaff. It's just cheap enough that you don't feel too bad about this disappearing for nothing off the board. And in this list, getting stuff sub 100, which you can get in a lot of places, does often mean that you run out of units. You hit unit cap before you hit price cap, point cap. So I do see what you mean, and that's a good point. 140 points, if you compare them to a chaff recruit activation, that basically you just activate so you delay so your opponent will act first. I can see the benefit of that Precision Growth. That definitely does have value. But would you pay 140 for that?
No, not with Defense 6. They're just too easy to pick up. It's fairly effortless to make these guys start making morale chests, and Fearless is going to help, but it's not going to. They will fail that after a couple attempts. So, and there's not really any way to fix that, because the all of the quality 3 heroes that would help their morale destroy their keywords of fearless and either strider or regen. So it kind of has to be the infected leader, but he has a quality 5. He can't help their morale.
He can give them no retreat, but then you know,
Ah, nah.
yeah.
Nah, nah, nah. Yeah. I think just this is the reserve for the 20-man unit that you're just going to throw at your enemy and just try and overwhelm them.
But yeah, you don't take infected runners. You take the next one.
Okay, yeah, so let's talk about infected runners in general. So Strider is good. I like Strider, and Fearless is a great rule too. Having 2 attacks is kind of nice, but you are correct where you said they're not scary. Like a 10-man unit,
Mm,
they have 2 attacks, yes, but quality 5, they're not going to have a huge impact, and even on things they charge.
mm,
So they don't really they are just chaff, and there's actually better chaff options in this list.
mm. Like you want this to either do more damage or be more tanky, and it doesn't really do either. And there are the other option is more tanky. So
All right.
this is actually the faster. We got to talk about it in comparison realistically, because these are basically the same unit. You're just trading out one rule for another.
Yeah. 2 rules actually, because the others
Two
get
rules
slow.
for one.
So
So
let's just
you
so
lose Strider, but you gain regen and slow.
mm-hmm.
Slow obviously being a drawback. You also pay 10 more points for this trade up, but
It's worth it.
regen,
Worth it.
yeah, regen. I mean, just in the context that we talked about it, there's a chaff activation. Chaff activation with slow doesn't matter. Slow is not a drawback for a chaff activation.
Yeah.
In terms of the other form of chaff, where it's going in front of your units as protection, sure, the slow could be argued to be a debuff there. But the flip side is regen on a 10-man unit is going to put in a lot of work.
Yes. It means they actually have some defenses. This unit can take a little bit of punishment. Infected runners will just vanish under
Mm,
any kind of look from the enemy. Infected zombies, as long as they're not being hit with rending shots or bane shots or something like that. Oh my god, bane shots.
mm,
Then they can actually sustain quite a lot of damage, and they got the fearless to back them up a little bit to help with their quality. So this is a good chaff unit. This is a backline chaff unit, unless you want to do fun things like transporting them in the air.
Ah,
Uh,
no, no, I disagree.
okay, go on.
We've both seen these in action a few times,
Mm,
and while I agree that it's just sort of an activation to delay with, I think it's an activation to delay with that just walks forward
yeah,
sorry, not 16,
8.
8 inches, which is not very fast because you want it to eventually be useful. And your opponent will never want to shoot at these because they may kill them. They probably won't quite do enough, and then they'll feel bad because they just shot at something that feels worthless.
Yeah, they're cost
And
effectively tough.
yeah, this is that unit which we've seen time and time again. I've had it done against me. This is the unit that your opponent ignores because
You don't
it's
want to
not,
shoot it.
they don't want to shoot it, and then turn 3, turn 4, they just don't have the firepower to quite take it down. This is a late game objective capper. This spends the entire game walking to a point and then is alive late enough that your opponent can't get rid of it. Anyone who's wise to how these armies work will have something in it that can ping off the zombies earlier. But until that gets introduced to your play group, and even when it does, these guys are unnaturally tanky. Just look at a double sized squad, even without the precision growth 250 points for 20 wounds, def 6 regen, 40 attacks, fearless, fearless with regen. That's a hard unit to chew through.
Mm.
Most people don't have that number of attacks. Imagine somebody throwing flamers at this squad.
It's so hard for me to not start putting infected leaders and stuff in at 20 zombies though.
It is.
I
It
want
is.
to I want to start supporting them. Uh I do agree though. I think you do either run 10-man squad completely unsupported, expect nothing, and then, like you mentioned, at the end of the game, they'll probably be there for you, just sitting on an objective. Or you go 20 man with support and use them. You're
I
gonna have to
think
figure out how to.
if you want to keep the support cheap, you can also do 20 man with precision growth.
I would go thrust before I double up precision growth because
It is more expensive by 5
it's
points. Oh no, by
it's
15.
15 points more expensive, but I get 3 more wounds and it's always there for me on a charge. There's no morale mitigation,
Sure. Uh
and I get 2 more attacks.
yeah. I feel like by turn 3, turn 4, looking at a unit that hits on by turn 3 and turn 4, yeah. I feel like looking at a quality 3 up to 40 man at 40 attack blob is kind of more spooky than +1 to hit, +1 AP.
It should be the same functionally, right? +1 to hit,
Yeah.
+1 AP is almost equivalent in a lot of situations to +2 to hit.
Yeah,
Oh no,
but
infected plays in here.
it
Uh,
does.
okay, more hits is just better with infected. Either way,
Yes.
we don't have to make this choice. We can just run both if you wanted to.
You can run both. You can. I think you're pushing the price up a bit more if you're running both. And
yeah,
this is not your uh killer unit. This is a unit that will get ignored and then with any of the upgrades can kill.
so are we
Maybe.
recommending infected zombies?
Oh, wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
Excellent choice. 125 points base for a 10 man regen squad. Doesn't matter what else it does. That's a lot of bodies that are hard to get rid of.
they are slow, and there's not really any way to mitigate that. But you know what? That's fine. You're getting a
Let's
discount for it.
yeah.
Okay. We'll go to infected soldiers. They're quality 5, defense 5. They've got base 18-inch 2-attack carbines. You can have 2 special weapons in your squad if you want. The special ones are the spore shooters, which can potentially give a blast 3 ignores cover. You can have sergeants, and they can have either energy swords or energy fists. What do we think about infected soldiers?
Yeah, we've talked about the weapon choices in this list, getting the upgraded weapons. The fact that they start with carbines across the board, 10 carbines at 165 points is really nice.
I like
That
carbines a lot.
that volume of shots with that range with infected is already a surprisingly scary unit for the amount of points that you're paying for it. You throw in unpredictable shooter, maybe one or two of the special weapons, which can come quite cheap, it starts to get surprisingly spooky output for what is essentially a guardsman squad. Well, a guardsman squad with much better weapons.
Much better weapons, but much poorer morale. So
Yeah.
you're just gonna have to be sanguine with the fact that you're making your morale on quality 5. But
Yeah.
yes, 2 attacks is a thing, and especially 2 attacks with unpredictable shooter aura. How would we run them? So you said you liked 10-man squad with an infected leader as a potential, just a cheaper,
Yeah.
235 point combo.
I throw in the two spore shooters. If
Spore
I know my
shooters.
opponent's playing something that spore shooters can't work against, then I'd probably go with a different option. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what I'd pick up instead. But flamers feel bad spending 15 points. Uh,
I know you
for
said
me,
flamers feel bad. I like flamers in here. I know anti synergy. I might roll +1 to hit with the unpredictable shooter aura, and it's 12 inches with the 18 inches. I understand that, but I just want to hit on twos. I want to know that when I get within range, these guys are going to start blowing things off the board, and they're going to do that for me. They'll pick up the shred, and potentially they could be heavy flamers depending on how unpredictable shooter aura treats me.
I
Yeah.
like the rending. I like the shred rifles more than would go up to flamers. It gives versatility and lets you split fire for a fraction of the price. I think if you're buying flamers, to me, it feels like I'm over investing in this squad. This squad's never going to have good morale. So by the you usually think with a big squad, like a 10-man squad with hidden flamers in it, like you would with guard, it's 8 wounds before it gets to the stuff that matters. But in this case, it's only 5 because you're probably going to fail the morale, which I think is a big swing factor. That flame is also less likely to be in range over more of the game, and you're spending points on it. This is not a unit that you build to be ultimate killy, in my opinion. So I think those flamers are kind of a point sink.
Are there any of the other things that we're looking at? I don't think heavy machine guns are the go.
No, too
Fusion
much.
fusion rifles, I don't think you get them here.
No,
There is
this
another
is
unit which could get them.
yeah.
Yeah,
Which
okay.
not even 30 seconds into the video you obsessively mentioned. Yeah.
Now, what do you think about an unsupported just 10-man squad?
Yeah.
Just 10-man squad, nothing else.
Naked or maybe just two. I'd probably always take
You want sport
just
shooters?
two. Yeah, just two of the 5-point weapons, whatever your preference is. Even the spore shooters, they do come with Bane, even if they
Mm.
can't bash. But yeah, if my opponent's not taking Def 5, Def 6, I'd
I
go
think
with one of the other options.
I think it almost is in zombie territory now, where they're not really going to. They're okay, but they're not really going to do that much.
Hmm.
I'd rather have zombies, I think. But if you support these guys, then they're a lot better than zombies in that regard because they can actually have very decent output.
Yeah,
But
you are right. If it's pure chaff, I'd rather have zombies, but you kind of need a shooting unit in this list,
yes,
one that's going to be on the board and trading. This is really the only option that I would say. I know what you're thinking. You want the gunners, but the gunners aren't a trading shooting unit. They're a bomb, basically, a high damage output bomb.
mm. All right, let's go into weapon teams. My Bane. Quality 5, defense 5. They have infected, of course. They're tough 3. They have mortars, which are Bane, Bash, indirect 30-inch shots. You can change those for heavy machine guns, missile launchers, las cannons, or auto cannons, and they can also run the precision debuff if you wanted to. Oh, this unit. Are you going to try and shield weapon teams to me?
No, no,
Okay, you
that's.
admit they're trash.
I use yes, not much positive that could be said about
If
this
they had
list.
Relentless or something, I would consider it.
Mm,
But
that
yeah, go ahead.
that the mortars aren't even normal mortars. The fact that they're bash instead of blast
Yeah,
in this particular is
defense
just
4, just lol. You did 3 attacks. Quality 5. Oh my gosh. That could
yeah,
have hit on 6s.
yeah. If you moved, it's
Uh,
I've tried a few different iterations to see if there's any way that I like this. There's some weird interaction going either missile launchers or autocannons, which is not the most expensive, and then going for infected boost.
really, I would have gone unpredictable shooter with the missile launchers. You want infected boost, do you?
Yeah.
Okay. So you want to get a deadly roll on 1 to 2 with the AP2.
Deadly 3 unstoppable.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see it. Hitting on 5s, though. How much is this squad? Are you doubling up the squad? Surely,
What?
right? With the infected boost?
Yeah, I think you get up to 300 and you expect it to do a lot more than it does.
It's 375 points.
So if you
And,
just go with
ladies and
two,
gentlemen,
yeah,
this dies to 3 flamers. Like, this squad dies to anything.
I
It's
think on average you might need 4 flamers, but yes, the
okay, you
point,
got me. Um
point made, point made.
it's
Um,
oh gosh. I've had these die to anything. They're so
mm,
expensive. Um
if you just got 3 of them, it's uh 1 hit on average, AB2, deadly 3, unstoppable. Infected boost means that there's a 1 in 3 chance that that hit blows up the transport, blows up the tough 6 flyer. In this case, we've got double the shots. It's 2 hits, 2 1 in 3 chances.
375 points, or I could have 2 combat walkers and I'd still have change.
Yeah, there is that. There is that. Yeah. Look, I tried. I tried. The weapons teams need to be reworked. I
I,
don't think
I
they're super great in any of the lists.
if you didn't have context, I have a lot of hatred for this unit because I have this in my list that I use the most, the Human Defense Force, and they always disappoint me. That
It's the
this
only unit in Human Defense Force which isn't completely.
it is trashed here. It is so bad. So this doesn't. This is an exact replica, except it's got infected. And you know what? Shred's nice, but it doesn't have any of the support as well that HGF can kind of pump into them.
Mm.
So
Look,
I
infected is.
know this will go bad on the tabletop. This will die to deadly. This will die to blast. This will fail morale. It's not going to hit. Oh,
Honestly, taking the what's the next option called? Gunners.
the
Taking the
gunners.
gunners with the grenade launchers is a better way to do
Yeah,
mortars because of that relentless. Weapons team just don't have anything going for them.
yeah. Yeah, throw them in the bin. Don't take weapon teams. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. If you're having success with weapon teams, tell me because I need to know because I need to somehow use this unit. I've got the models and they always suck. So let me know.
Mm.
Infected gunners, quality 5, defense 5. They've got infected and relentless. They come base with 18-inch spore shooters. You can upgrade those to shred, flamers, fusion, grenade launchers, and machine guns. Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited about this unit.
Mm.
I'm going to click the flamers and combine 200 points for 6 flamers with relentless and shred.
It's 15 hits on average
With shred.
with shred. Oh, sorry, more than
More than
15. It's
that.
18 hits
Yeah,
with shred.
with shred. So it's going to absolutely murder any kind of light infantry, medium infantry.
Mm-hmm.
It's horrifying damage, and it's very reliable damage. Unlike a lot of the things in this list where it's like quality 5, unless really heavily supported. This is quality 2 with 6s explode potentially, and ones are extra wounds. It's so good. This unit, I take this in every game pretty much in the lists I run, and
Mm.
they always do work, and everyone knows they're coming because I use them every time, and they still do work. I
Mm.
always will recommend. There's no list where you can't use 200 points to have 6 flamers with shred and relentless. It's crazy. Yeah, you have to transport them. There's transport options in this list. Do not run them because they will just disappear. Just you have to transport them. But wow, do they do work?
Also, if
Uh,
you run them, you're going to spend turns with them not killing things, and that's just crazy.
yeah, why would you do that? Kill something turn 1.
Yeah, 200 points for just ridiculous amount of wounds. 12, 15 on average against F5. 15 wounds against F5.
Yeah. And then we got you can run fusion because they've got the infected. So now you've got relentless and shred deadly.
Shredley,
Oh
if you
gosh, and
will.
it's still 100. It's still 100 points.
You could even give them unpredictable shooter if you wanted, or some other buff.
You got smacked with 6
Infected too.
fusions in a sapper squad, and they didn't even have deadly. How did that feel?
Yeah,
Sucks, right?
it does suck. Yeah, you'd
It's
think a 5 up to hit would be such a drawback, but when you remember there's a 200-point unit, and most other people who are dealing with like, here's my deadly unit, it's a tough 12 tank, right? Or it's a tough 6, and it's only got like a few shots. When you compare that's their sort of blow up a tough 12 unit, and then you go, oh yeah, mine's 200 points
and it's not
instead.
hard to roll a couple 6s with 6 shots. Happens a lot. And
Oh
then
yeah.
yeah, 4 hits, deadly AP4, deadly 3. You better not roll any ones.
Mm.
Yeah, just
4 hits?
yeah, 2 6s, 4 hits, relentless.
Yeah, true.
Um, and
Well,
anything else that you're seeing in terms of weapons that recommended and
it's
stuff?
3 hits. It is 3 hits.
What?
Not because the 6s.
Yeah, 2 6s.
You know, out of 6 shots, you're getting 2 6s.
No, 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 no. I'm saying it's not hard to just spike a little bit and
Oh,
get 2 6s
oh
instead of
yeah,
the
yeah,
one
yeah.
you expect, and then suddenly
Yes.
got 4
So
hits slamming through.
This is the arguments of average versus variance that we've had a few times with a few people.
Average should
But
be 3, but 4 happens a lot.
yeah, you want the spike because the spike is fun as well. There's nothing quite like you rolling 6 6s with this squad and then saying, "All right, 12 6-up saves for your tank. Otherwise, each one is deadly 3. Oh, also ones are extra." He's not even going to roll. He's just
Yeah.
going to pick up the models at that point. Although, don't let him roll the dice that rolled 6 6s, because Lord knows those are your secretly cocked dice. So if you're rolling that well,
Our infected colonies player runs grenade launchers. What is how does that go?
he's correct about one thing when it comes to these that I think you would underestimate more than me, but I've learned to agree with him on this, which is that yeah, it's not a great, insanely good profile, but it's still 200 points for what 9 hits that ignore cover with infected. Yeah, 3 times 3.
Yeah. So 9.
3 hits means 9, so 9 on a combined squad at 24 inches. It's blast, so it ignores cover.
God, I just kind of want flamers. I see
I
what
know
you
you
mean
want
though.
flamers, but flamers you have to dedicate a transport at
Yes.
least partially to delivering.
No, you do.
This
It's mandatory.
this is cheap for a unit that can sit outside of effective combat range of most units. When you think of the very much shotgun flamer focused meta that we've got, that 24-inch range, and if it does nothing, you don't really care. Even just a 100-point unit with 3 of these will get what 1.5 hits on average. It's 4.5. Then that could be even more. I think it just comes up to 5 wounds on average against a squad, and you could definitely spike more than that. But if you think about a 10-man squad, it has quite a good potential for damage output, and it's a unit that if your opponent touches, it disappears, but you can just put it out of range to stop it from getting
It's 100
tapped.
points.
It's 100 points. If it dies, who cares? So I think he's right. This does have a place. I think it's hard for you or I to fathom this unit as a concept. We just
It's a
want that to
different kind of
appear.
way than the way we use these kind of units, which is just delete the delete button. That's not a delete button, but it's 100 points. So
Yeah,
and it needs
exactly.
no transport.
And that swing factor again, 3 grenade launchers, you roll 3 6s, not a impossible roll to get, and now it's 6 hits plus 3. If you tell someone, yeah, I hit, you've got 6 plus 3 hits, so that's 18 saves for you to make, and I go, that's 3 models. How did you do that? That's the sort of like explosive gameplay that this would make an orc player excited, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Infected Gunner's probably one of the best units in the book. I would
Yeah.
always recommend him.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this sort of unit should be changed across the game.
You reckon it should be changed? Well, I certainly have a lot of success for them, so I don't advocate for them being changed.
Yeah, it's too killy. If changes are made to the way the extra hits work, that would affect these quite a bit across the
The
different armies.
the relentless plus the shred plus the deadly feels like too much sometimes.
It
The
does. It
amount of damage that can pile through with that combination of rules of deadly, shred, and relentless can feel unfair. So I understand.
But you want to do combos like this, so I understand why people like it. I understand, it feels good to have this as the player, and since a lot of people can access it somewhere, having them combo in that way is enjoyable, and it probably makes the math simpler. But it's a bit too killy.
Let's have a look at hunters. So, quality 3, defense 4, they've got ambush and strider. They come base with 2 attacks with bane. You can change those out to 2 attacks AP1 rending, 2 attacks AP4, and one of them per 5 can have an AP2 deadly 3. It's a pretty spooky unit. What's that? 20 AP4 attacks, quality 3 with shred.
Mm-hmm.
It's expensive though. What are we talking? It is 210 for 5 guys.
And so I mentioned these earlier. This is exactly how you've got now. This is how I run this squad. This comes out as 6.6 recurring wounds against tough 2 because of infected.
Which
How it
should
ends up.
trigger a morale for potentially death on a lot of things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you don't combine?
Here's the problem with hunters: defense 4.
They die
There's
pretty quickly.
they get picked up. This is units that come in from ambush and deal disproportionately high damage versus how tanky they are is a classic ambush unit. You want a glass cannon to drop in and get that first charge. Here's the problem: you're playing infected colonies. You have more or equal activations than your opponent. Almost
Yeah.
guaranteed. You're not getting that first activation round 2, which is when the hunters operate. It's when you'd want it. So you need to place them in such a way that they don't get the retribution, or your opponent has choices on what to kill. So if they wipe out the hunters, that's good for you as well, because your other super effective unit now gets that free range charge. But 200 points, and it gets picked up by
A lot of things.
Yeah.
I kind of like this combo, the Great Hunter Thrust. He's got AP1 rending. They've got AP1 rending for 160. So 425 for the support plus 10 guys. That's 24 attacks hitting on 2's AP2 rending.
Mm.
That's a lot. That's a lot of damage coming out. Now, you are correct. This is not a
Usually.
low activation army.
No.
But what you're doing with this unit is you're forcing a choice. Where this unit is, I would actually go the opposite. I would not be conservative with this unit. I would actually put it where it can threaten 2 very valuable units. But I would have flamers that have just had their turn. So if if you go for the hunters, then I'm shooting with the flamer unit again, or something else. Just lots of threats that are all threatening. Everything is threatening. So yes, you can shoot the hunters if you want. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm going with other squads that are also going to, destroy.
So you're talking about target saturation as defense.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And here's something that maybe you wouldn't have thought of, but is one of the reasons why I really like the rule. It's the neg1 to hit buff. Neg1 debuff on your opponent's precision debuff.
Mm-hmm.
Turn 1, drop precision debuff on your opponent, possibly with flyer units. So whatever you drop off in the flyer drops neg1 to hit. It can be with the caster as well. Then when the hunters come in, their biggest threat in the area can already be at a -2 to hit them in response. Now, all of a sudden, they're, evasive and stealthed on that first turn against their biggest threat. That's a lot of built-in tankiness that you get from that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a good argument for the precision debuff, the way these two combo. I think that 210.5 man unit, because of the sheer amount of damage it can output, and because it's already such a huge swing threat, that dropping that alone by itself as an ambusher, such that it's there with all your other threats, it can compete with the sort of 400 point threat unit that's next to it in terms of target priority. Because they know if I activate to kill that first, then I'm almost definitely going to kill it. So I'm just going to ignore that 400 point unit and give it a chance to attack me first. But then you're also getting the optimization problem for your opponent. I can kill that squad of hunters that just dropped with my HTF guardsmen, with maybe 1 or 2 flamers. I can do that. I can kill that squad. But then my super elite killer unit that could target as Abomination is not going to get to activate before the Abomination. So I could try and use my super killer unit against the hunters, but that feels like a waste. And so it provides challenge to your opponent as a general. And target priority is one of the names of the game for more melee focused units. Giving your opponents too many charge options helps a lot. There's the entire concept of the distraction card effects from 40k, right?
Yeah. It only works if there's lots of other things to shoot at.
Mm,
If you are taking hunters, and I do think they're a good unit, it should be comboed with an aggressive strategy.
yes.
Less about low activation to try and make sure they go first. Just accept that your opponent is probably going to go first. You just deal with that and have a strategy where if he goes first, that's okay because you've got so much other things that can go that it doesn't really matter.
Mm,
You're going to be able to punch him in another direction.
yeah. There might be an argument for a great hunter with fast aura. So you can deploy from ambush further away and thus be more survivable, maybe behind a friendly unit, so that you have that tankiness on the first drop, but your opponent knows they're there. 16-inch charge lets you have a bigger threat range. I think that's also an option, but then you are paying for the great hunter to come
465
down.
or more, depending on if you go
Or if
more
you don't take
AP4s.
the second squad, you could take it with a 5-man squad too, but
Oh, okay. Interesting.
it just keeps it a bit cheaper. And up to, what is it, 14 AP4 attacks is still great.
Okay. Let's have a look at definitely a weird unit. Boomers. So
Okay.
quality 4, defense 4. They've got death strike 3. So if this model is killed in melee, the attacking unit takes X hits, so 3 hits for every time you lose a model. They've got tough 3. They've got base 4 attacks with Bane, and they can run the precision debuff as well. Okay. I haven't seen a unit like this before. I've seen the spores where they just explode at the end of combat, but this one can win combat and still exist, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool combo, and they're actually pretty punchy. Quality 4 attacks is pretty good.
So you want to hear something really interesting, something really weird about how this unit works.
Mm.
If your opponent has deadly melee, it happens before your other attacks. They can
Yes.
pop a boomer and then get less attacks as a result of this.
Now yeah. Let's have a look at that. Deadly. So you reckon that would go between the wound rolls? But the
Yes.
attacks would have already been shot. Because they resolved
Ooh.
first, but they still rolled.
Hits must be resolved first. You are right. That's fair. You
So I
don't lose
think
the.
I think if in a melee you'd roll all the hits and then the whatever the deadly ones were would be assigned and
Yeah.
resolve first, but
No,
then they would.
I agree. I agree. You're right. I did misread that, but either way,
One
even
other
without
thing with Deathstrike as well, it doesn't get infected. Infected is only from weapons. Deathstrike is not a weapon.
yes,
You can't get a
true.
one extra wound off this.
I I really want to like this unit because
So do
it's a
I. It's such a
fun
cool meme.
concept. Yeah, but if your opponent shoots this, uh, you've paid more for zombies that are more killable.
Yeah. Well, they're not slow, and they're
No,
okay in
compare them to
melee.
runners because they don't get regen either. They get a
Yeah,
bit
they're
more tankiness from the
basically
armor.
runners. Um,
Yeah, look, I don't think these are unusable.
no, I
I like them, and I think they're a fun unit to have on the battlefield. And 4 attacks Bane quality 4 is definitely nothing to scoff at. It's 12 attacks at 160 points.
they're
They're
pretty
also
cheap for
cheap enough.
9. Yeah, they're cheap for 9 wounds. Defense 4.
Mm.
Never
The
mind all the other
hardest
rules.
the hardest thing about the boomers is the fact is the delivery mechanism.
Yeah, I want to put them in a transport, but I want 6 if I'm doing that.
Exactly.
Uh, you don't
The
precision debuff, right, on these guys? That's not a precision debuff unit, right?
No. I mean, you could to provide defensiveness to the boomers and just as an option for where to put it. And I would potentially in the list that I've built or in some lists, because one ways that I can see you taking boomers is boomers in planes.
Yeah.
Boomers in planes, I would take precision debuff because the moment you step out of the plane, you can drop it. It gets its value. There is the downside of boomers are kind of designed to die, so the precision debuff would go away when that happens.
This is
But
actually a pretty, in terms of its cost, you almost want to put this into a killer unit so that they swing in, you kill some of them, they swing back, they kill some of you, and then you go again with Death Strike. So you get. We've been looking at a lot of those, like the low defense, high quality AP4 units that have like a lot, like 20 AP4 attacks or whatever. This would be great to send into them because they'll almost definitely kill it with the Death Strikes as well.
And the funniest thing about Bane is how it combos with Infected.
Yes,
So
more rolls.
this will, yeah, it'll ignore regen. They'll reroll sixes, which means there's 2 rolls over which they could get a 1. This even goes into tough. This goes into a combat walker in a really funny way.
Yeah. Can we recommend them? I think they're cool. I don't necessarily think they're the strongest pick, but they it's funny.
This does 4 wounds into a combat walker, by the way, before Death Strike. On average.
With the Bane and the...
No, it does more than 4 actually, because of the Bane. But it's 2 1 in 6 chances more, so which is 1/3, so 4.3 recurring.
Even on the 4 to hit?
4.6 recurring because you also double it. Yeah, that's with the 4 to hit. 12 attacks, 6 hits. 1 in 6 is a wound which doubles to 2. No, I did my maths wrong.
I was about to say, I
Doubles to 2.
don't question the maths, but also...
I think I was calculating as 6 boomers.
Ah, yeah, 6 boomers, I believe.
Yeah.
So
half what I said.
Yeah, look, they're cool. I don't necessarily think they're the strongest thing ever.
No. They're also dirt cheap. In an army where you have so much stuff that is in that dirt cheap range, this is a fun unit. Do I think it's top tier and you'll see it lots at tournaments? Maybe there's a niche where you'll see that in tournaments, like maybe the flyer drop is worth it. Perhaps giving them fast through an infected leader is the way to do it. But yeah, they're fine. They're fun.
Have a look at Leech Swarms. So 75 points, you get quality 5, defense 6. They got Strider, tough 3. They each have 3 attacks with Bane. You got a 15-point precision growth if you wanted it, which is an interesting option. I like Leech Swarms. Very cheap. 75 points for 9 wounds with Strider. Sure. It's good enough for me. What do you think about them?
90 points, and on turn 3, it's 9 attacks hitting on 3s with Bane. And Infected.
And yeah, and Shred.
This is a dummy activation. This is a swarm unit. We all know what these are used for, but the important thing to realize with any infected colonies list is that because of infected, every unit is effective at killing. Maybe.
I would spring for precision growth on this unit if I could afford it. There was just 15 points floating around. This is a good place to find it because this is a unit that typically hangs around till the end of the game because you don't use it. Well, I wouldn't use it in an aggressive way. I would dummy activate it 1 or 2 times and then go after objectives later on. And then precision growth is going to be there for you.
Yeah.
But cheap.
It's a bit faster than the runners, so... Sorry, it's the same speed as the runners.
It's way cheaper.
It's way cheaper. If you wanted to sit around on precision growth, this would be the unit to do it with.
I think they're pretty good. Go to Crazed Ravens.
You're going to put a leader in the Leech Swarms?
I
don't even know what you could do. You
could
could
Rust.
Well, you could slap them on as bodyguards to a solo Monstrous Tyrant. Just have them follow him around.
Lose Strider.
On a Monstrous Tyrant?
Yeah. Leech
Oh,
Swarms
because
don't
the
get the
Leech
Strider.
Strider, good point. Yeah.
It's not the hugest deal. I don't think the Monstrous Tyrant needs friends. I would actually be concerned about that because then your defense 2 might vanish. You might get flamed off the board.
Yeah, defense
Because it'd
6.
be defense 6 of the Leech Swarms that would be triggered first.
That is true. But yeah, dummy activation, that's what it's there for.
Yeah, dummy activation unit, and a good one. Crazed Ravens, quality 5, defense 5. They got flying, tough 3. They get 3 attacks with beaks, and they've got a 10-point precision growth.
Even cheaper. This is the one that our infected colonies player likes.
Likes the flying
Because,
Ravens.
yeah, because flying, def 5, even cheap precision growth. I think it's the same point with precision growth as the leeches.
Yeah, it is 90 points either
90
way.
versus 90.
You pick up a
So-
defense and flying,
But you
and
lose
you
Bane.
lose Strider Bane. But Strider, flying is better Strider.
Yeah.
So really, yeah, you're losing Bane, gaining flying, and yeah.
Also,
and on a defense.
Yeah.
That's a good trade.
It's funny. It is a good trade, and it's funny to have just some birds on the board at turn 3 and turn 4 that suddenly are, huh?
They're going Super
Those
Saiyan.
was that chaff? And then you hit it on 3s, they're like, that's chaff. Remember, lots of attacks and infected, always good. So 9 attacks hitting on 3s with infected.
Yeah.
Watch
Yeah.
your opponent roll 1s, watch them cry.
You've convinced me. I think they are better than Leech Swarms. If I was running 90 points, then I'd probably upgrade to the Ravens with the precision
Hey,
growth.
no points to me for that. That was Ollie.
Okay. Let's have a look at our scout unit for the list. We got Rabid Dogs, 105 points.
Perfect.
You get quality 4, defense 5, fast infected scout. They come base with 2 attacks, rending. No notes. I like it. Combine it.
There is only one thing in this entire unit that makes it not perfect. Do you know what it is?
No Strider.
Ooh, okay, there's 2 things.
What's your thing?
It's the base size.
Oh, what the? 60 by 35.
That's a huge base.
See, nobody ever talks about these, by the way. Base sizes.
So it only came. Yeah, I don't because we played 40k, right? So we don't really pay attention to the base size unless it's a unit that's non 40k, and then you try and get something equal to the base size. But 5 def 5 2 attack quality 4 guys with base size 60 by 35 millimeter.
It's going to be hard to fit 10.
Exactly. It's actually hard to fit them into combat. And they can't go behind each other, I believe, at that base size.
They could. They can go 2 deep. Oh, wait. 60 millimeter. You have to go sideways.
Yeah, if you go sideways, you're blocking off more models anyway.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Huh, interesting.
Actually, I should check. Let me check real quick. Because naturally, I have Crude Hound models, as you know. So that's what I use for my Jackal Hound. So I don't actually know if they're the correct size that they're supposed to be in this game.
This is a nerf for a melee unit, by the way. Melee units don't want big bases. If they're a big unit like this, it makes it just harder.
60 by 35. Yep. My Crude Hound models.
Cheating.
Yeah, clearly. So they're on the 28 mil that they come with when you buy the models. So I've just been using them on those. Technically speaking, they are too small. Is the base size, is it a suggestion or is it just recommendations? Okay.
That's a big game impact for a recommendation, though.
It is. It is. I don't know. Are tournaments specific about base sizes?
I don't know. I
We'll
don't
have
know.
to ask
It,
some of
it,
the other
it they would
boys.
have to be though, because if you wanted to be that guy, you would run all your melee units with 20 mm bases, and you'd run all your shooting units with bigger bases.
Mm.
Um, so
Fitz,
you kind of,
Dave, Harvey, let us know.
yeah, all you tournament dudes.
Yeah.
What's the deal? Anyway,
Mm.
back to Rabid Dogs. So, despite what we've been saying about base sizes, this is an incredible unit.
Phenomenal.
It's got scout, it's got fast, it's got a decent
Rending.
price for good weapons and rending,
Only
and it's
4.
got quality 4. So it's got enough. It's cheap enough that you're not worried about it throwing it away, but it's also killy enough that it can have a big impact and it can charge turn 1 effortlessly into most things with
Yeah.
its scout and fast.
I mean, 20, like, assuming the bases weren't actually an issue, and hopefully they aren't, 20 rending attacks hitting on 4. That's
with
that's
with uh with shred.
yeah, with shred too. So three of those will be a bit over 3. 3.6 of those will be AP4, and the rest of the hits will still go through
And ignoring
regen.
regen.
And on
Yeah.
the scout unit, look, hounds wherever we've seen them have been a good unit. Nice, cheap, smack them into your enemy. Rending in particular is a really good choice for this sort of unit. Volume.
These kind of squads is the only thing keeping my scout veterans honest in the metagame right now. Because these are cost effective enough, and they can eat enough of the scouting, scouting
Yeah.
veteran defense 4 guys with regen, that I have to be concerned about how I place them. And if you mess up, or if I have to place second, or I run out of scouts, then these guys can just run in and eat them, and there's not much I can do about it. And if your enemy is not scouting, so they're anti-scout, that's their best role. They can punish your enemy scouting. If the enemy doesn't have any scouts, then they still have an excellent role because they're scout fast, so they can pick something in your enemy's deployment and just go after it first activation with a very meaningful attack phase.
Oh
So
yeah.
we're great and not very expensive. Just that is exactly
210.
what I want to see out of a scout unit.
Yeah. Uh, no real notes. Like you said, Strider, just avoid the craters. Don't let Philip set up terrain because he puts the craters in the worst spots every. I've realized you build the same map every time, so um,
I've been found
just to
out.
dog you in front of everyone. But yeah, no. So that's the one counter thing to these really is the Strider and the bases, but obviously that depends. If you're no one we play with is really a strickler for base sizes unless you show up trying to abuse
I
it.
know if someone's abusing it, so you can just
Yeah.
normally someone is just like, these are my models that I've got. I'm like, sick, and you don't have to even think about it. But if you'll be able to tell when someone's manipulating it for their advantage, so
Mm,
it's never really
yeah.
been a factor so far. But I think in
Yeah.
tournaments you would have to consider that at some point.
The only reason I noticed is because the guy playing these printed out bases of this size and looking at them, I'm like, this doesn't seem. These are dogs. Why are they this huge?
The,
Because that's bigger than people.
I I could probably check, but I don't think this is included in points in any way. This is no consideration in terms of points what the base size is, and if it was, yeah, it is impactful enough that it probably should be considered points. So maybe that's why it just says recommendations.
Yeah. I guess this is probably also a holdover from 40k. This is like the Chaos Hounds, I think,
Uh,
which are the bigger Sigma. I'm not a
no, they're the
Sigma.
corn hounds, right?
Horn Hounds, yeah, that's the one.
Um, yeah, you could run that.
But I think that's the sort of base size that they're imagining,
Yeah, they're fairly big models.
um, which is I think is yeah. I mean, they look cool, and if that's what you run on, that's fine. But yeah,
But in terms of
but
rabid dogs, we recommend.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, 100%.
Yes.
Even at that big size, it just becomes oh, only half of them get in, but like who
They
cares?
don't get picked up either.
Yeah, it
All right.
means they're more immune to damage because you didn't care that half of them got wiped anyway.
So we'll go on to infected vultures. They're 155, quality 4, defense 4. They've got ambush, flying, tough 3, 3 attacks AP 1. they can have impact for 15 points, and you can change any of them into AP2 Deadly 3 attacks for free. Wanted to. Interesting. I like impact. Impact quite a lot. 15 points. I'll buy impact.
I hadn't seen this piercing beak before.
AP1 is a nice little place for it, and they're quality 4, so more resistant to morale, and don't need as much support.
Unfortunately, they're in the niche of being tough 3-man unit, which is the most hated unit type for us.
For me.
I
don't like it.
Weak to deadly and blast. And it doesn't even have the advantage of being high defense to compensate for it, or regen or something like that. It's just so killable.
It is cheap. These guys are fighting with boomers. So boomers are quality 4 defense 4. They got 4 attacks with Death Strike. These guys are quality 4 defense 4. 3 attacks, but they have ambush and flying.
I'm wondering if you ambush vultures with the deadly beaks, if that might have some play.
Just with the infected brawn?
Yeah. Or even if you were able to... Can you get an ambush flying leader? I don't think you can.
No.
You can get ambush leader with a hunter. You could put a hunter in, get them to have
losing flying
thrust. Yeah. Maybe thrust on them to get them to hit more often, or infected boost. Something like infected boost on this squad would be pretty funny.
What about AP2? Just three on their own?
Just with their normal weapons?
Yeah, and some impact.
Yeah, why not?
I like impact just for a little bit of reliability, and it's got 9 attacks and 170 points. It's not bad.
But here's the problem with a lot of these units in this list is it's a different list building experience playing infected colonies than most of the lists we've talked about so far, because my argument for this isn't, it's a waste of points. It's a waste of a unit slot.
Yeah.
I'm spending 170 points for this when I could spend less to make an actual chaff unit, or more to make a unit that does something. But the number of units definitely feels like more of a limit in this list.
It's a cheeky little unit. I don't mind it.
Yeah. But this could be 20 carbine shots, but cheaper than this. 5 points cheaper for 20 carbine shots instead. With it infected.
I have a feeling this unit will do more damage.
Yeah, I'm not doing that maths in my head. I've been embarrassed with my maths twice.
With the impact and the quality 4 and the AP1, I have a feeling this one is more damaging. But
I'd rather the 10 wounds and not weak to deadly.
9 wounds.
And I don't really
defense
want
4.
The ambush.
Yeah, well, the ambush is the key. That's it. You're not using this unless you have a plan for ambush. All right, let's go to Corrupted Beasts.
Ooh.
Quality 3, defense 3, so very high quality unit. Very good defensive unit. They got tough 3. They come standard with 3 dual sharp claws, which are 4 attack AP1 rending. You can change those to 4 attack AP4 if you want to across the board. You can change one of them to a 2 attack AP1 blast 3 or a 2 attack AP2 deadly 3, and they can run precision debuff if you want. It's a tough unit with some smacky weapons. They can jump out of a plane with a friend.
Jump out of a buggy too.
Jump out of a buggy. This is an actual very, very dangerous unit. And it's pure. It's no random shooting weapons or any other stuff that you have to pay for. This is it just smashes in melee at a good quality, and it's tough. Yeah,
it's one of the few multi-model. I think it's the only multi-model unit that's Def 3
in this list for sure.
Yeah, and it's got infected built into it, and it can be built for power swords or power fists, or even the one-off special weapons are okay.
Yeah, the blast and deadly are kind of interesting with the infected
Yeah,
rule.
just as an extra option that you have around. These are not bad. I mean, 10 points instead of 15. You get half the attacks, but you get +1 AP and deadly 3 instead. It's not bad. And I played a game with these. I had 5 points. I was 5 points over in the end. So I swapped one out for the dual piercing stingers just because it was a anti-tank unit. And you know what? If I didn't get that deadly 3 hit, I wouldn't have killed. So it's it's good. I like this unit. This
I like it
unit
too.
serves well being transported with a Monstrous Tyrant. I don't know if you can run this across the board, but running across the board is the only way you can run this as a 6-man squad.
Yeah,
I
I
don't think I would.
prefer this as a 3-man unit with support jumping out of something plain,
Yep.
preferably. This is a very useful thing for this list because this is a very reliable unit in a list that otherwise doesn't have a lot of reliable units. Quality 3
Mm,
defense 3 is going to stick around for a while and it's going to reliably do its job. So
mm.
that's really nice to have just in your back pocket, a unit that you know is just
Yeah.
going to do damage and going to pass morale.
You can also build your list around, or particularly build how you field your corrupted beasts in this list to solve the problem that threatens the rest of your army.
Yeah.
If you build a swarm heavy mass infantry army, one or two corrupted beasts in flyers could be equipped with even just the base weapons, not the smashing fists, jump out and just eviscerate their most anti-infantry squads bright and early. And then on that round 2, where your zombies finally reach into range to start doing something, they don't face any threats.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
can dive in and take out the enemy's best anti-tank, and then all your abominations or combat walkers and stuff suddenly a lot less threatened.
I'm actually less inclined to take the 6-man unit of this squad purely because at that point they have to walk, and I'm walking, what, 420 points? It's a lot easier to deal with. Yes, they're very scary. Very,
Mm.
very scary, especially if they're supported. But
There,
I kind of like
there
the
are
idea of just sending them out turn 1 so they're immediately doing their job with a
Yeah, there are
transport.
better options for walking tanky models in this army for sure, for cheaper, that seem to do quite a bit more. We'll get to those next. But here's the other thing that we haven't mentioned yet: Contamination Cloud, the precision debuff on the Corrupted Beasts.
Mm.
This is where I take it. This is in a plane with a Monstrous Tyrant with the caster spell, with the caster 3, dropping out, killing a unit, and potentially getting neg 2 debuff on 1 or 2 units.
Yep.
Now, that's a bomb that kills something, which is always what you want bombs to do, but it debuffs other things. That's a great combo.
Yeah, that's a very nasty activation.
You,
A lot
you
of
get,
a lot of
yeah,
annoying
you
things
get,
happening.
yeah, because you get the utility out of the bomb as well. And it's a bomb. So ideally you're throwing it against something that you probably wipe out, which with 12 AP4 attacks hitting on threes
Plus
and
the
plus the ones from your commander, which probably is another 4, I think he'll have, plus the
6.
stomps.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but the stomps are stomps. Um, it's not guaranteed to wipe out, say, a tough 12, but with infected, that has a pretty good chance of wiping out whatever it charges. So you don't want the debuff to go on whatever it charges. Use the debuff to protect your other units. And then, hey, this is sitting in their backline, probably your last activation.
Interestingly, that unit that you've just described, the Monstrous Tyrant with casters in Corrupted Beast, this is a nice answer to AP4 Combat Walkers. Because if you're putting -2 on a Combat Walker, you're giving me a hell of a choice because now I'm swinging back at you at 6s. I just am. I'm just hitting at 6s whether I swing now or later.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm almost guaranteed going to lose the combat. And if I try and fight in that combat so I don't lose, I'm fighting on 6s, and then I'm fighting on 6s later as well because I'm fatigued. And it's
Mm-hmm.
probably going to do 6 wounds, so it's a morale or die. So they can
Mm.
actually safely go into a unit like that.
They can. They can. And because you're playing Infected Colonies, you're probably like last activation. This can be one of your last two activations. And the charge out of the plane can't be charged by his combat walker. It's flying. It's an aircraft. It can't be charged back. So it's a very safe unit on turn one. And then that precision debuff, like I said, can, and like you said, can affect whatever it's charging or its allies. But more importantly, it can set itself up to be your first activation on turn two, which occurs after theirs.
Mm.
Because you can stop them from fighting back against this unit by picking the one unit that's their biggest threat and debuffing them. So that round two, they're neutered and you're ready for your second charge.
Yeah. I like Corrupted Beasts.
Yep.
They're
Put them in a
very,
flyer,
very good.
laugh. Yeah, don't put them on foot, I think.
No, I think that's a waste of them to put on foot. And they're too easy to avoid at that point. It's very easy to play around a unit that just moves 12 inches, doesn't have Strider, and there's too much value in this unit to have that stuck in that way.
Yeah, if you want this unit on foot, use the next unit that we're going to talk about. The very first light vehicle, or small monster, I guess, which is the Great Beast.
Great Beast. So 135 points. You get quality 3, defense 3, fear, tough 6, and it's got 6 AP2 attacks. That's a great profile for 135 points.
So cheap.
Really great profile.
Your opponent feels like he has to kill this. Like it's too scary on the board.
This fear
but
is
it's
just
also
magic, by the way.
It is
so good to have on tough 6 mod.
It is. Infected, of course, on 6 attacks for 135 points. There's spiking ability there. AP2, it'll go into anything. AP2 is such a magic number for multi attacks. You can Contamination Cloud. I probably wouldn't. I keep this as 135 points.
Cheap, 135 points. It's just perfect as he is. I don't want to add. Precision debuff is good, but man, 135 points.
Think of what your opponent has to dedicate to kill this, and then just realize it's 135 points. And if he doesn't, it's 6 attacks, AP2, quality 3. That's not going to do nothing.
And it can bully bigger units because it's reasonably tough. It's got the fear. It's got an okay amount of weapons for its point. Yeah, it's good.
You'll get the first charge with this, or he'll waste more points killing it.
Yeah.
Both are a win for you.
I wish it was defense too, but then it's probably going to cost more. So that's just the trade-off it makes.
Start it in cover.
Yeah. Yeah. Quite nice. Any other notes? Okay.
No notes.
Let's talk about the attack buggy. Again, very cheap. 125 points. Quality 4, defense 2. It's fast. It's got impact 3. It's tough 6. It comes base with these 2 attack spore shooters. And we got cargo extension for 30 points. You've got 155 point transport, everyone. Very cheap.
And it's not a slow one like some of the other cheap transports. It's not a weaker defense. It's still tough 6. It's got 2 pseudo flamers. I say pseudo because it doesn't have that reliable
grenade launchers, kind of.
Yeah. It's so good. It's so cheap.
Yeah.
Usually if you want to put a transport in to get you guys closer, it's around 200 base. And this feels like a better profile than some of those, which begs the question for me: where's the extra cost? Where are my Dow transports costing?
These weapons that we're not going to purchase because they're too expensive. So an autocannon for 245 points. This is a bad unit now. Costs too much. These 155 points. It's an excellent unit. I don't think we are.
You can throw precision debuff on this, and it's as expensive as a devilfish.
Yeah.
But you just don't have to.
I wouldn't. I'd save my 50 points.
I don't think either of us would ever run this without not as a transport.
No, I'm not excited by these weapons and this profile. I hate this twin laser cannon hitting on 4s on a 210 points. I know that's going to disappoint me in a game.
We've just been through that. There's a better vehicle for that.
Yeah. So I don't think use this as a gunboat at all. Just take the cheap weapons, run a transport, and put something nasty in here. You got nasty options to put in here. So just use that. Nasty options. We're talking. The infected gunners with flamers or fusion. We're
Look at how
talking
cheap that is. You're talking a 200-point unit inside 155. That's 355 points to deliver 6 flamers or 6 melters into your
with
opponent's guard.
relentless and with shred, and it's 2 activations protected by
And
defense 2.
the vehicle's got a spore shooter as well. This is like the attack APC combo that you get with the Battle Brothers, but half the price.
Mm.
Not quite as much damage output, but also more variance in the output because of the infected.
These corrupted beasts like to go in here because they
Yep.
can use that to get a turn 1 charge. They can still bring their Monstrous Tyrant friend for the full combo.
They can have 2 Monstrous Tyrants with them in there. One in the squad, and if you want, and then one just sitting in there.
It's a bit of a meme, but you can throw zombies in here.
Uh,
Zombies weakness.
I rate this.
I also do too. It sounds dumb, but it's actually not.
It's cheap enough that it works hilariously well. The real issue with this as a combo is you bought 2 units that are sub 200 points in value.
Yeah, you're gonna have to spend some points somewhere else. But that, like, what other army has that problem of like, how do I spend these points? Like, usually it's the opposite.
Oh no, I need to buy more elite units to balance out my army because I have extra points and not enough units.
But yeah, the problem with zombies is they're slow. You need and the attack buggy just solves that for you instantly. So they can instantly be a problem for your enemy. You can throw in a infected leader with them to give them thrust, and they can actually throw out 20 attacks, 23 attacks, hitting on 4s, AP1. That's okay. And then it might even get better later on for precision growth.
It's hilarious the amount of damage that can end up doing even against defense too. And then your opponent just sees it sitting there and it's like, okay, what are you going to do? Shoot at my 10-man zombie squad? I don't care.
Do what you must. I've already won.
Yeah, I mean, an 8-inch charge sounds bad until you are charging out of a transport, and it's only supposed to be 6 anyway. So I would never do that with the flyer if you're going to spend 300 points on a premium
It's because this is
transport.
so cheap that enables that as an option.
Also, the idea of zombies in like Mad Max zombies is hilarious.
Jumping out, drive by, brain eating.
Yeah, witness me, but
yeah, attack buggy, just
phenomenal.
It's really good.
What a great transport that can remove transport, which we don't care about. So just take it as a transport for the same price almost.
So let's have a look at Combat Walker. 155 points, Quality 4 Defense 2, Fear 1. He's got Tough 6. He comes base with an 18-inch single attack AP4 Deadly 6 and 2 stomps. You can throw in some other weapons. You can get some more melee attacks and a flamer if you want. You can get 2 plasma cannons or 6 AP3 shots. I'm a big fan. And I know what everyone's going to say. They're going to be like, quality 4 anti-tank. Like, that's unreliable. Yes, it is. You know what's not unreliable? 3 of them. 3 of them altogether. Now, there's 3 shots attacking on 4. They're all AP4 Deadly 6. And if you roll a 1, pick up that unit. You done messed up. You taking Deadly 12 now.
That's the big spike.
So you're going to get your reliability in volume, and this is cheap enough that it can do that easily. 465 points for Deadly 18, 3 different models, all defense 2, tough 18. Oh, that is a good price.
Cheaper than a hammerhead with the super heavy railgun, I believe. I think that's just up to 500.
And way more board presence. It's got fear and little dinky melee attacks. It's I like it. I like it.
I don't like it as a unit to take, not because I don't think 155 points for this seems worth it, but it's that same thing of I kind of want to take multiple of these to make them good, and then I'm just losing unit activations. Like the rest of my army has to be more elite because I've just got 3 units sub 200, and also I don't know. It doesn't thematically to me. I don't think it sits as well on the list. I want horrific monsters greebling forward. Having a super heavy fusion rifle on a walker just doesn't sit in this list aesthetically for me.
I like it. I don't think I'd take any of these other units, other configurations,
Yeah, no.
just because like you can get more attacks, but there's other units that are more scary that could do that. So I think you just take the super
I
heavy
think
fusion rifle and just scare your opponent with Shredley.
Yeah, I think your opponent rolling a 1 on the defense and then realizing his tough 12 tank explodes from that one shot is it's a lot. And you go, how much that unit cost? 155 points. Oh, sick. Yeah, cool.
There's 3 of them.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's have a look. The
So it's
next
kind of
one.
mixed on that. Kind of it's more of a question of I don't see it fits in the list rather than it not being good because I think it is good at 155 points.
I'm pretty sure I slammed 3 of these into my army list. Let's go to battle tank. So 380 points. You get quality 4 defense 2, fast impact 6, tough 12. They've got a battle cannon for 2 attack AP 2 plus 3, twin heavy machine gun with 6 attacks AP 1. They've got this unique heavy spore mortar. It's a 30-inch 3 attack Bane Bash indirect. Just don't take this.
Nope.
The reason not to take this is a fast tank, so it's actually really good at capping objectives.
Mm.
And if you move, then this indirect means you're going to be hitting on 5s with your 380 point tank, which is really sad.
You paid points to lose AP for
So,
an extra attack that may not blast.
yeah, it's just don't. You can have some las cannons or auto cannons. I'd say the auto cannons or the battle cannon for me. The others are a miss.
The unit's just as a whole is a miss for me.
Yes. So this is a HGF battle tank, but it doesn't have Strider. It doesn't have any +1 to hit support. It doesn't have stealth. It doesn't have orders. It's missing a lot of the stuff that makes a HGF tank viable. It's just a quality 4 vehicle. It's actually missing an extra attack too, because there's a hull cannon on the HGF one. It can be a las cannon or yeah. It's just
It does have infected, which is
infected's okay.
nice.
It's okay, but missing out on Strider and stealth are huge rules to miss.
You could get this sort of weapon output using the relentless guys with grenade launchers
Or flamers. Or
or
melters.
flamers or melters.
I'm pretty sure a 200-point flamer squad would absolutely annihilate this in terms of output. But again, I'm not going to do the math. But yeah, normally this would be something to increase the sort of toughness of your list to make it so that you have something that's resistant to, mass non-OP shooting. But this list doesn't need it. There's lots of defense 2 stuff, defense 3 stuff that's reasonably killy, and this is not very killy. I don't think it has a place. I agree with you. I don't think it's very good.
No. And even if their army was all low AP volume shooting, chances are it's not enough to deal with you if you really wanted to build a zombie heavy army. You can just drown them out with numbers instead. You certainly will drown them out in number of units in this list.
All right, let's get it out of here. Abomination. Now we got a proper defense 2 unit. 325 points. Quality 3. Defense 2. Fear 2. Tough 12. He's got 12 attacks, 8 of which are AP 3. 4 is AP 1. You can run the precision debuff if you want. 325 points for a tough 12 with shred. Quality 3. Lots of AP 3 attacks. That's a pretty good rate. Pretty good rate. What do you think about the Abomination?
It's great.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's not a combat walker.
No, and it doesn't have fearless or anything like a lot of the other stuff. You can't give it regen. Well, I'd say that you can give it regen with a spell, but you can't natively have regen.
So this
seems smaller than normal, by the way. We're talking about bases again, but 60 millimeters seems tiny for something this big.
Yeah, it is a Sentinel base, so it's a bit strange that it's tough 12 in that. But yeah, it's base size. That's as it
Recommendation.
says, just a recommendation. So for the Abomination, this is a perfect thing to put your caster buffs on. When you think of, oh, I want to have a caster cast regen when he comes down or at the start of the game, was one of the things I instinctively went to. I was like, what units benefit most from it? Abomination with regen, perfect, beautiful, no notes. Abomination with infected buff, perfect, beautiful, no notes. They all work really well with the Abomination, and he's quite cheap, 325. He's got 12 attacks. You know, two of them are rolling. You know, well, you don't get all of them hits, but that's a lot of potential for infected. So it's volume attacks.
Oddly high
AP
quality.
oddly high quality, yeah. So he's pretty good with morale. He's got fear. He won't outpunch a combat walker, but he can outsurvive one if he starts getting those buffs from somewhere else. And I do believe he's cheaper than a combat walker.
He'll beat up a lot of things that aren't combat walkers but are this kind of profile, and he'll
Hmm.
absolutely smash infantry squads and other things.
Hmm.
And he's cheaper than a combat walker.
He's still
So,
Def 2, Tough 12. This is that, like we
hmm,
talked about the battle tank. Let's introduce some Tough 12 Def 2 for survivability in this army. This
here
is
it
the one you
is.
want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Unfortunately, there's no way to support this going quicker. There's no way you're going to get a turn one charge. You can probably avoid a turn two charge potentially, but he is a
Seeing it
brick.
operate, it certainly gives you the feel of Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator, just stomping across the board towards you. You know it's a threat. You know it's there. You kind of want to shoot it, but it's kind of hard to kill. And when it gets to you, it's just kind of spooky. It's good.
Yeah, 325 points. You can't go wrong. Let's have a look at the last unit. Light Dropship. Okay.
Save the best till last.
Yeah, 300 points, quality 4, defense 2, aircraft, tough 6, transport 11 base. It's got 10 AP 1 shots. You can change those out for
Phenomenal balance.
some missile launchers, and you can run some las cannons if you want.
The
I
base
I
loadout.
will shill airborne transports, aircraft transports until the cows come home. They are game-winning pieces. They enable whole units and playstyles.
Hmm.
They're just incredible. And in this list, they are really good for just turn one pressure for a lot of those units that otherwise may not even see the enemy until turn three. This means
Mm.
they can hit turn one with very high reliability
Yeah, turn one ambush. For a unit that can be your last activation
and can take an objective.
and can take an objective. And there's the classic flamer combo that you like. Turn
Yep.
one, drop them off, burn something. Turn two, they walk into the dropship, then it flies somewhere else.
It is an incredible thing to have in your back pocket.
Hmm. Your opponent seeing that flyer there that just wiped out one of their units, knowing that there's the flamers in it and it can drop pretty much anywhere on the board in another turn and take an objective at the last minute with 6 flamers is incredible. And here's the other thing about this, right? I super rate that weapon loadout. They're just the base weapon loadout.
Just 10 infected AP1 shots.
It's yeah, and big range. So you're not worried about where you're placing it in terms of like, can I be in range to hit something? You will be. 10 shots, AP1 infected. Hitting on fours, so it's not quality five, so it's not as bad as most of your other shooting. It's just nice.
And it's cheap. This is the kind of transport that I like, the cheap one. Where
Well,
this
this
is
isn't the cheap one on the list, but yeah.
no, I mean like in general the aircraft transports. There's like the heavy ones which have lots of guns, and then there's the sort of lighter ones. I like the light ones. And this is only like 75 points, 80 points more than a lot of people's normal transports, and they're so superior to the normal transport.
Hmm.
Uh, it's
You think about
yeah.
the stealth upgrades that you put on your normal transport so that it can move 16 inches and hope that's enough to get your charging unit into range or your shotgun unit or whatever. This doesn't have any issues with how far it has to travel. You can cross the board. And then it's just super tanky because it's an aircraft. The presence of these and their ilk in the meta is what makes Unstoppable better. And almost necessary. The like artillery upgrade doesn't quite do it. It's just how good these dropships are. If your opponent's playing robot legions or infected colonies, definitely consider taking more Unstoppable in your list.
Or HDF.
Or HDF, yes. Basically, yeah. Transport aircraft, phenomenal. This one in particular, really good.
Yeah, no notes. It's mandatory for me. If I'm taking infected colonies, I'm just going to snap click a light dropship and then think about what I'm going to put in it.
Mm.
All right. Should we have a look at some army lists?
Yeah.
All right. So this one is mine. So, fairly standard for what I like. So we were even just talking about it. We got the light dropship and we've got 6 flamer gunners. It's going to do what it says on the box. Something is going to get absolutely roasty toasted and they're going to just go around terrorizing objectives. We've got 3 of the combat walkers with the deadly 6. They're just going to be probably put in one stack and just solve AT for that part of the board. Just do not put your tough things near them because they're all going to just have a shot and it's going to be Shredly Deadly 6. Good luck. We got the attack buggy. Now, this one's got the cargo transport. I've actually got a little bit of flexibility when I'm deploying on, do I want it to be the corrupted beasts in the light dropship or do I want them to be in the attack buggy? How I'm going to decide that is, does my enemy have Unstoppable? If they have Unstoppable, then the corrupted beast and the Monstrous Tyrant are going in the attack buggy and the infected gunners will go on the light dropship because it's less of a disaster if this light dropship gets deleted turn 1. If they don't have Unstoppable and I have free reign, then I'm going to give the Corrupted Beast and the Monstrous Tyrant the best charge they can possibly get, and they'll go on the dropship to go at the bottom of the turn. And I've got 10 activations here, so they can use that. We've got 2 10-man unit of scouting Rabid Dogs just to ensure that I'm going to win scout, and it's going to be tons of forward pressure combined with the attack buggy and the light dropship, and just a Leech Swarm for a dummy activation. Very simple. Very damaging first turn, lots of AT combined with Shredly and yeah, blast, just all the things I like in a list. What do you think?
Yeah, this is when I was looking at infected colonies, I thought I know exactly how Philip's going to build it.
You knew it,
I
yeah.
knew exactly what you were going to grab. None of this is a surprise to me, none at all.
And it's still hard to deal with.
You look at this, and if you knew you were coming up against this, right, there's not a lot you could do to counter it in terms of like knowing what to take to counter it for a lot of lists in the game. That being said, I think there are some potential weak points in the list. Particularly, you don't have a lot of all of your survivability staying power is packed into the fact that you've got those combat walkers. You don't really have any of that volume squad survivability because the Rabid Dogs are probably disappearing on the first turn, right? They may do something, they may do a lot, but they're probably disappearing on the first turn. You really need that Monstrous Tyrant Corrupted Beast to put in work. The Infective Gunners, even if you get like an optimal play of this army, I think a lot of lists will be quite resistant to the damage output, and you don't have a huge amount of sustain.
It's a gnarly. Well, there is. So these 6 are pretty sustainable. These units here. These ones, yeah, this is utility and damage, but there's a lot of stuff going on turn 1, potentially right from the start. Yeah, it's it's going to punch really, really, really hard, and wherever it wants on the board, and then yeah, we'll see what happens after that. The infected gunners are probably going to get picked up immediately after they do their thing. If the opponent's smart, you're right. The Rabid Dogs are going to take a lot of heat, but they're also probably going to do their job, and then everything else is coming in. Yeah,
Mm.
I've used lists like this a lot. It's very effective. I know this will do quite well. So yeah,
Yeah, it would be a scary list to come up against for sure. But I think it's that early game swing that you really need with this list, where it feels a bit closer to that what we just talked about the last few Inquisition.
yeah.
That
Oh, I forgot to talk about the corrupt beast. So the Monstrous Tyrant is in there. They're all going in. Either of them transported, but he's got the thrust in melee, and they've all got the AP1 rending. So it's what 12, 18 AP1 rending hitting on twos.
AP2.
AP2 rending hitting on twos. They're pretty nasty. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Let's have a look at yours.
Yeah, knowing that you'd do this, I wanted to be slightly different
Yeah.
from the way our mate plays entirely too. So, although I do agree with something that he always does, I love having zombies, the infected zombies in the list, just walking on foot. They're just, as we said, hard to ignore. Sorry, easy to ignore, and then by the time you shoot at them,
Double
it's
light
like,
dropship.
oh, don't have enough shots. Yeah, double light dropship. We'll get to that. So we've got the two infected zombie squads. I went for precision growth because they're going to get ignored. And then by the time they're actually, potentially fighting, your opponent's like, oh crap, they hit on what? They hit on threes? We've got the infected soldier squads with unpredictable shooter, spore shooters. Like I said, if I know my opponent's not playing an army with quality 5, defense 5, I'd swap them out for maybe the rending, maybe the other weapon option. But these shooter squads, they can get wiped out pretty quick by your opponent. If you play around with cover, just stepping into cover to get line of sight through, just standing behind your obscuring terrain, which should be in every match, they will deal way more damage than you'd expect for how little you pay for them. But they will disappear if your opponent gets the first drop. So these fit well, I think, into our meta of shotgun scouts, because these will outrange the shotgun scouts and they'll wipe out the shotgun scout squads for fairly cheap. And it's a lot of the survivability comes from the fact that it's a 11-man squad, as opposed to in that same sort of points value, you'd expect more 5-man for shotgun scouts. So that's their purpose. Yeah, I think they fit into the meta well. We've also got the 5-man deep striking hunters. I kind of went for a slower assault mostly with the army. A lot of the army is walking, not a lot of it is hitting you right at the start. There's no hounds, you note. There's no. There are some flyers. So the hunters are more likely to drop down at the same time as your other threats are sort of in range, which I feel like gives them a level of survivability. You can also delay them if you want. We talked about doing a round 3 drop for ambushes, which can be effective, and they can still get a objective cap on turn 4 that way. So they're just, they're there as a piece and a utility piece. Leech Swarm as just a, chaff unit, an extra activation, 75 spare points. It's going to do something or it's not going to do something. That's fine. It may win you the game. Same with any chaff. And then there's the fun feature of the list, which is just for fun. 2 boomer squads in light dropships. I don't suspect that it's the most super broken, overpowered OPR, please nerf Tano unit or way to play it, but I think it's hilarious.
It will be funny.
It will be so funny. You've got 2 late activations flying this across the board and dropping, because this is a 10 unit army, and everything else you activate, you don't mind just shuffling. This is 2 late activations to drop these boomer squads with their death strike. It's pretty funny. You've got protection for them, which is the one real drawback of boomers. Their damage output's pretty hilariously high. It's pretty swingy as well. And at the end of the day, you still have the 2 dropships, which are going to output a decent amount of damage with their 10 shots each. I think it would be quite fun. I think your opponent will freak out seeing the boomers drop into their face.
I just freak out about the dropships.
Yeah, yeah. But that's the other thing. You're also not over investing in hyper killer units in the dropships. So because I cut down to the boomers rather than say the corrupted beasts to get more damage output in the dropships, I was able to get that second dropship and build my army more around volume of models sort of chaff rather than build it around elite units.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty tough cookie to chew through with a bit of surprising mobility with a light dropship. The only thing I would be concerned about would be anti-tank. If someone rocks up with a whole bunch of defense too, you're pretty much just
Mhm.
going to have to rely upon mass shots and vector at that point, which is reasonable.
Hmm.
That will still do stuff.
Yeah. I I think I have enough to put up with some tanks. You're right. If somebody shows up with, an
Titan
all
Lords.
tank list, yeah, Titan Lords. But we don't really build for skew lists as much.
Titan Lords would probably suck into this too because they can't chew through all this. So
Yeah, well, that's the flip side, is they won't have the number of shots to get through this. And then we don't have one of his lists here, but the way our infected colonies player plays this is, see that first unit, the infected zombies. Imagine they were double size.
yeah,
Uh, and so now you're ignoring them, but they're squads of 20 zombies. So even when you do start paying attention, you've just got no chance of getting through all of them. He plays very much throw as many models on the board. He doesn't go with any of the transports. It's definitely different from the way we would default play. And I don't think it's necessarily bad. I think you have the option to run this list in a lot of different ways. I
well,
think
it's an
the
objective
way,
game, so all he has
yeah,
to do is be on the objectives, and you can It is possible to have enough units that your enemy can't get through them. It's a
mm,
very killer game, but also, if you don't have specialized tools to get through zombies, if you don't have Bane Blast, then it's quite likely you won't get through them.
mm, yeah, and it's, seen it in action. He does say that it's a very different experience playing them because turn one you feel like I'm just getting just completely shat on. You've got you're pushing zombies up the board. You don't get to attack anyone. Your opponent's just obliterating tons of your guys. He said that start kind of hurts until your opponent realizes he just can't chew through it all over the course of the game. It's it's a freaky list. I really rate infected colonies. I think, yeah, aside from having to remember to use infected, I feel like this is a very beginner friendly from the perspective of list building.
Interesting. Okay.
I I think it's kind of hard to get. I think there's a couple of units that are not great in this list, right? Like your weapons teams mostly. But I think by and large, you can build most lists with this army and you'll still have like a decent chance.
Do you want to give him a rating?
So yeah, we're
I'll,
rating usually. What is our rating based on? Is it based on competitiveness? Like, in a
for me, it is how viable they are. So uh, there's moments in a game where you feel like I don't feel like I have a good chance, or this is unfair.
Mm,
And I know OPR is like that, very good in that regard. That there's not many of those moments, but
mm.
you know how it feels to verse an army that's quite strong.
Yeah. Mm,
How how much likely are you to be able to avoid that, so that you always feel like you just are good into all matchups, and you feel like you have a good chance all the time?
I think in terms of viability, in terms of like I'm going to go and have fun at the game and still feel like I have a chance to play, I would actually put these probably A.
Interesting. Okay.
But if instead you were to tell me, oh, the tier list is who would win at tournaments, I would call this probably a C.
Hmm. Okay. I I was leaning towards low B myself. So I recognize that they are. I like the shred rule. I like a lot of
Mm,
these regen, and they've got fearless spread around. But there is a lot of quality 5 units around that have no morale support whatsoever,
Hmm.
and they are going to fail morale. That's just what's going to happen. Which, when I see, I know it's me going on about morale, but when I see that, I can tell it's an unreliable army, so it's not going to be friendly towards new players in the same way, say, Battle Brothers would be, where it's like Battle Brothers, very consistent. They're going to do their job and hang around for you, and they're going to reliably do the same thing every turn. There's a little bit of swinginess in this army in terms of that, but also in terms of the infected rule and things. They're not really missing any core concepts that make a good army. They've got pretty good melee. They have okay-ish shooting, entirely carried pretty much by the infected gunners. They've got the flyer. Their tank sucks. That's unfortunate, but it's got some pretty good melee guys. They've got the combat walker. So they've got a lot of their bases covered. But they're just with the low quality, I don't think they're reliable enough for me to give them higher than a B. And I'm concerned if a new player ran them and that they're like not used to wargaming. Rolling fives to hit sucks. It's rough. So make sure you're supporting all you guys to give them all the thrust and the unpredictable shooter and all that stuff to make them just a little more reliable for you. But for me, that'd be a B-ish, which is kind of I guess what you were saying, where there's sort of depends on how you want to see them.
Yeah, I it's a fair call. In the actual game of playing infected colonies, in retrospect, less beginner friendly, the actual gameplay. I mean, remembering the infected is like an extra factor to more basic gameplay of something like Battle Brothers, like you said. Having more units and having to learn more rules maybe a bit more difficult as well. It's more in the actual list design that I found that it seems to me every unit almost feels fine. Like
Yeah,
they could work in any level of play, really. There are the difference between like an optimized infected colony list and one that was just sort of thrown together with the models that you have in terms of quality of the army, I think is pretty similar.
I see what you're
Because
saying. The floor's a lot higher.
exactly, the infected is a great equalizer for the list. Yeah, but it is swingy. I think it's a great player for the sort of orc player, a great list for the orc player trope of the guy who has a lot of fun when even his units die and like high fives you. This is a great list for that because they will wipe out your zombies a bunch, and then there'll be times where it swings and your zombies like overtake some scary unit. And yeah, this feels like a very beer and pretzels army for me. You
I
know.
was gonna say it's an absolute flavor win. It's
Mm.
dripping in cool flavor. The way sort of zombies just slowly move up the board, and then they like contact your tank and they somehow just overwhelm it and swarm and keep going.
Mm.
It's cool.
S
Uh,
tier flavor. S tier flavor.
S tier flavor for sure.
Mm.
And yeah, a nice unique army for OPR. There's lots of cool 3D printing models for this kind of stuff, like zombies and things. So
Mm.
yeah, how do you rate it for fun in terms of versing and playing? Just purely on fun, not viability.
Yeah, purely on fun. Yeah, like right up there. I don't know. I'd be tossing up between A or S because yeah, you can take whatever you want, and it doesn't seem like it would be bad play. If you're the sort of person who hates picking up your own units, I could see you getting a bit upset about it. That's why I hesitate to put it as like
Yeah,
absolutely 10 out of 10. But if you take this, you'll have so many models on the board, you kind of have to be like, yeah, I'm chill.
I'm an Imperial Guard and a Skaven slash Ratman player, so I don't mind picking up my own models, and I like bringing a lot of models, so this is pretty
Hmm.
cool in that regard.
Hmm.
All right, so we're definitely recommending Infected Colonies. I think it's a great list.
I recommend it. I don't think you take it to a tournament. That's why I said lower on a tournament. But I think any friendly game where you play or come up against infected colonies, it's gonna be fun.
All right, that'll do us for this time, guys. See you next time.
So yeah.